Hello! How are we all doing? I've had a fabulous day. But then I would, wouldn't I, Mike? Be looking after me. Oh, yes. Hello and welcome, everybody. I've got to wait for the thumbs up so I know that you can actually hear me. But fingers crossed, seems like... No, I daren't say this. I was nearly going to say it was in a good mood. But then I decided not to.
You're live.
I am, but what's wrong with my slides? Oh, no! Don't tell me it's at that game again. It should not be at that game again. It's tiny in the top corner. Have you got it tiny in the top corner? No, it's just me. See what I mean? I literally just said things were going well.
Oh.
Never mind, I'm going to ignore it. Right, so on to everybody in the chat. Carol was in first. Thank you, Carol. Carol says happy birthday. As does Debbie. And Carol's saying, I hope I had a good day. Oh, yes, indeed. Thank you, Renee. Renee is in there, as is Pandemonium, who has uncannily accurately got that I'm 21. No, actually, I've got to admit, I'm a smidgen older than that because we didn't know each other when we were 21, did we?
No.
So 24 at the minimum. At the minimum. Right, who else have we got in here? Carol's in, the other Carol. We've got multiple Carols now, you know. And Patience. Hello, Patience. Hello, Paul. Hello, Dale. Hello, Jonathan. Thank you very much, Jonathan. It's on a slide. I know we're being quite mysterious with that, but all will be revealed shortly. Hello, Raptus Ictus. And while I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that, I do actually understand what it says. So thank you very much. That's happy birthday, isn't it? And thank you for your videos, which you like a lot. I think I'm right. Am I right, Mike? Go on. That's the only French translation I've done since I was 16.
Yes, it is. I read it before.
There you go.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much. And Kim is in the house. Thank you very much for your good wishes. Chelsea, we've got to stop moving. Oh, my iPad's frozen, crying out loud. That was because I said things were looking well. Anyway, let me make sure I've got everybody. Good luck for your exam tomorrow, Patience. Hello, Deb. Hello, Peter. Hello, Richard. And at that point, it's frozen. So I'm going to have to switch screens so I can see. So just let me move the fan. Crying out loud. Right, well, I can see everything. Who have I missed? No, I think I'm there, aren't I? No, Alex. Hello, Alex.
And Graham.
Hello, Graham. Oh, he's moving again on there. It's not moving on my iPad. I think I've upset it on my iPad. Oh, there you go. It's going to be one of those days, isn't it? But never mind. I thought Wednesday was bad, and I'll be sharing that with you shortly. So let's get on with it. Right. Where's my mouse and where's everything else? Right. Let's see if it'll. No! Oh, I knew it was too good to be true. Let's go back to the slides and no, still not moving. Oh, yes, it's just taking a while. We're broadcasting in HD. Hang on, isn't there a slide missing there? Just a minute, it's deleted my slide. What's going on? Oh, honestly, my what's it slides disappeared. The next time I say things are going well, can you let me say it, Mike? Just saying. Right, I'll have to try and undo and hope that the last thing was deleting a slide. Let me have a look. Is it there now? Oh, come on. Right, I'm going to have to triage this presentation because this guides me through it. So I'm not going to remember what it is that I'm doing, am I? Oh, no, what are you doing? We've got it on there and it's tiny. So I'm undoing and step by step see why this has disappeared, but it's still disappeared. Okay, I'll talk you through it. That's what we'll do. No, I know what we'll do. Oh, you're seeing it behind the scenes live now, aren't you? I've no idea where that slide went. It's playing with my mind. But what we'll do instead, proving I am a master of presenting, even though when the slides are missing. Right, we will be having the week at MacBites headquarters. So let me whiz through those, and then I can get the slide that will introduce the first thing that we're doing. So we'll do it this way, and then I'm going to get very annoyed later as to where it disappeared to. So the first thing we are doing, when the slides catch up with me, is I've got something ChatGPT and YouTube related, which is rather clever. So that's the first thing. The second thing is also AI related. It's using AI to create mind maps. Then I've got some easy photo editing, which it's fantastic. It's very, very clever. It's very clever. Let's just say that. Then Mike is going to be wowing us with an accident dashboard, aren't you? I wondered about the topic, but never mind. Then after that, we've got Obsidian, which did say, but it doesn't say now, sneaky peek and hover edit. So that's what we'll be doing with that. And then Mike assures me, although I've not seen a box yet, Mike assures me there's an unboxing. So fingers crossed that he can actually manage to get a box from somewhere. So that's what we've got planned. I have no idea where my slide went, but never mind. As Sneak Peek said, we are broadcasting in 1080p. Make sure you are watching in 1080p. YouTube did notice to me this week. I was watching this thing, and I thought it was a bit blurry. But you know, like it's just a bit blurry. 360. Thanks for that, YouTube. So make sure that you go down to the cog in the lower right-hand corner. It's near the like button, just saying, birthday, just saying. And make sure you're watching in HD. Now, normally we start the week at MacBites headquarters with Saturday, but I need to go further back than that to Friday. So this was Friday last week during the show. Towards the end of the show, if you were with us or you watched on catch up, you may recall that there was a Blues and Twos went past. It turned out to be a police car. We say Blues and Twos in the UK when we're talking about the lights and the sirens. But sometimes it's difficult to tell whether it's police, ambulance or the fire service. Anyway, Mike said, no, it's a police car. And then there was another one, followed by another one. Well, after we'd finished, Mike headed straight off to bed. I carried on working for a bit and it got worse. You found this photo, didn't you? And it was on Reddit. So thank you to whoever posted that on Reddit. Yes, we don't often see that many police cars in one place. But apparently, according to a thread on Facebook, and that was about 29 pages worth, wasn't it? It was 16 police vehicles, but not just police cars. These were armed response vehicles as well. They were following a lone gunman who had taken a pot shot at a tree, apparently. Only in the UK, but it is very unusual that anybody's got a gun in the UK, isn't it? So people were dashing in and locking doors and stuff. All of this rumbled on for the whole of Friday night and half of Saturday. Now, do you notice anything with that picture, Mike? Is there anything in that photo that gives you cause to smile?
Yeah, it's daytime.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's light. I mean, it's light now.
Oh,
and there's the helicopter as well in the distance. No, something that only you would know, that they would not know, but I am about to apprise them of. No, he's totally forgotten. Right, that building behind the first police car, not the one that says Club 2022 tattoos, not that one. The one with the yellow bit. Bring back any memories yet?
Yeah.
Yes, that was, in its heyday, a plumber's merchant. And we always had a thing going on with Mum, didn't we? Whenever she went in, she would fix the toilet, the bath, you name it. So she'd go in with half of the toilet with her and say, I'm looking for a wing nut for that. And they'd go, suck air in through their teeth. So she loathed this plumber's merchant. Anyway, this bit here, let me get my mouse on it. This bit, which was the front room of said place, turned out, Dad went out, got a Sunday paper, came back, and there was said plumber's merchant all over the inside pages of this Sunday paper. They were providing more than plumber's services. It was services of an adult nature. And that was the building. So we don't get near there now, do we?
No.
So that was last Friday. It was all happening. We have no news whatsoever whether they ever caught him or how the tree is. There you go. So let's head into Saturday.
Kimmy wants to know if the shelving arrived, and I don't know if you...
No, I haven't put that on there because I haven't got a picture of it. You didn't take one. But...
Yes, it arrived. It arrived on Saturday lunchtime, Kim.
So, only 3 days late. But it did arrive. So, Saturday, you were otherwise occupied. Did it arrive before the game? We were all totally...
I found it about 1:30, I think.
Oh, so it was before the game. We were totally flummoxed, you see, because there was a Premier League football match at 3:00 on a Saturday. And the two of us were like, that's an unusual time for a football match.
Tomorrow.
I know. They must be really disinterested in our end season. But he was a happy bunny. He was a happy bunny because they won
says lady pipes. That's kind of plumbing.
Oh, yes. And you're not far off the extra services either. But I was saving my excitement on Saturday for the evening. It was Eurovision. I swear this is something only people in Europe understand. And even then, I don't know if I understand it. But the big news this year was that the UK was hosting. This is the first time in 25 years. Obviously, the host is the country that won last year, and we didn't. Ukraine did. But Ukraine aren't exactly in a position to host the thing, and we were runners-up. As I say, I always wonder what the rest of the world make of Eurovision. This year was no exception, I'm happy to report. So it's the US, I think. I think you would watch it and think, what is going on? The Aussies love it. But I think in the US it'd be like, what's going on? This is the kind of act that you are subjected to. This was Lord of the Lost, and they were singing Blood and Glitter. And that's what they were wearing pretty much. Then there was Finland. Now, Finland's was actually quite catchy. It was one of those things that you heard once and you could probably sing it. It was called Cha Cha Cha. And it had to be seen to be fully appreciated, as you can see. But it was one of those songs you can't forget it. I do think special mention should be made, though, of Croatia. Let 3, and their song was called Mama SC. I think they stole the show in their pants because over the course of the 3 minutes of the song, they stripped off and finished up singing like that. Some things can't be unseen, can they? Some can't be unheard and some can't be unseen. And that one fell into the unseen category. Actually, we got off lightly because when they performed in their own countries in the heats, they actually performed with roses strategically placed in the backside. Don't ask. Don't ask. I've no idea how come one of those acts didn't win. Finland won the public vote, but not the judges, who ensured that Sweden won.
That one on the right. I know everyone's now 30 seconds behind.
Yeah, go on. The one on the right with the guitar.
The one on the right with a purple guitar. Looks like Lemmy from Motorhead.
He does, and I'm just glad he's got his purple guitar. It's a shame the other fella hasn't got one. He needed a longer microphone, I think, to cover his modesty and to save me seeing it. But Sweden won, which people have claimed, naughty, because it means next year's event will be in Sweden and it'll be the 50th anniversary of ABBA winning it. I don't remember ABBA winning it, thankfully. I was too young for that. But I have been a huge ABBA fan pretty much since then. So I was enjoying that, but Mike got into it. It wasn't even Wendy, was it?
No, it was
but
some
they
bloke.
did bring all the food. Didn't they substitute one thing? And we got something more expensive.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a success last week. Total success. Which meant it came to Sunday and I had to get down to work. Carol will appreciate this. Carol was a week ahead of me, that's why. It's this thing we've got going on in our Captain's Table mastermind groups. So I was revisiting the 2 mastermind sessions. I rewatched them. I'll admit I watched each one twice. Then I needed to catch up with Carol, who by this stage was at least a week ahead of me. Happy to report, managed it. Despite the fact it being an uphill battle. You know, you start with this and think, well, how difficult can it be? How long could it possibly take you? And 5 days later you think, yeah, that was a good question. I didn't finish it on Sunday, but I did make a very good start, which meant I could start my week. Gently, as ever, channeling my inner Peter. Box set time. Actually, I didn't watch this as a box set. I watched the first episode. I actually set it to record and then forgot to watch it while it was on because you were yakking. So I waited until you'd gone to bed and then I watched the first episode. Now, when I say box set binge watch, I would have done if I could have found it. The tech woes started early this week. It said at the end of the episode, all episodes are available right now on the iPlayer. So I went to find it. That doesn't look like all episodes to me. That wasn't what I was seeing. So I decided to check Twitter on the basis if others had the same lack of episodes, they'd be moaning about it loudly. And they'd be doing it on Twitter. I was right. Some had just one episode. One person had episodes 1 and 4. So we were basically playing swapsies until we could get all 4 episodes. I took a different approach. I did a swift forced cache update using the dev tools in the browser, which meant it kind of nuked it and reloaded it, and I got all 4 episodes. So I was off. So, happy to report, yes, I indulged in... There was only 4 episodes, though. Usually 6, but there was only 4. Highly recommended, no spoilers, but it's a gripping drama. And Philip Glenister's in it, so you know, nothing wrong with that, is there? Philip Glenister, not only in it, but in 1973 and 2002. So you get double doos. So that was my Monday taken care of. Tuesday, incoming toys. Not only like last week we had new Apple toys, this time it was Photomator for the Mac. So we've had it on the iPad, but now it's available for the Mac. It is subscription. That was a bit of a letdown, wasn't it? Not the only thing that went subscription this week either. But it is. So we now have the full complement. It is on the iPhone, the iPad and the Mac. Let me know if you're using it. Let me know. And we can cover it. We could do that. That took me to Wednesday. I had to get up particularly early for me on Wednesday because it was my power hour for Second Brains, which was really good this week. Really enjoyed it this week. That was before the trouble started. Yes, Notion, I am looking at you. So, Carol, you know this thing that we both did that was a living nightmare? That took forever. There I am, working with it yet again. And I thought, I can finish this today. I can finish it and submit it. Just as Notion logged me out. Thanks for that. Bad words were said. Very bad words. I swiftly logged back in because I needed to check that all the latest information I'd added was actually there. So I'm working back through a group of 7 toggles, and each of these toggles have 20 items in it, and each of those have another, was it 20 items in? Yeah, 20 items for the toggle and then 1 item within it. So basically a lot of data. It was still there, so I carried on. It was only much later that I discovered data was missing 5 sections up the page. 7 lines of content in a call out. Obviously, only the most critical 7 lines of the content. More bad words were said. They were very bad words, weren't they, Mike? So I thought, right, I'll duplicate the page as a backup before I do anything. I opened this copy I'd made and the data was there. It just wasn't in the original. No amount of opening and closing it put it back. So I thought, right, I'll copy the data and I'll paste it back into the original. Or this way, because if I didn't, I was never going to catch up with Carol. So I did, and all was well for 5 minutes. Before I knew it, I'd got 14 lines of content and more bad words were said. I figured if I deleted the duplicates, all 14 would go. Did I mention how much I love working with computers? It was Notion's fault. I will never understand a service that logs you out in the middle of you sitting there working. You know, fair enough if I leave it for 5 minutes. I was typing as it just logged me out. So yeah, very bad words. And that wasn't bad enough. Then there was PowerPoint. Now you all know I only use PowerPoint because Keynote ate my slides. Well, PowerPoint had thrilled me, if you remember, a couple of weeks back. They'd added the ability to lock items on a slide. So there I am, working away on my slides, and notice that the ability to lock items on a slide's gone. So they added it and then took it away again. It reminds me of that James song, you know, Sit Down. If I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor. So I sent Microsoft a snotogram. And it was a nice snotogram though, wasn't it? Because it was last night as I was working. So it literally just gone past midnight. So I sent this snotogram to them and I said, you know, I waited literally years for you to add this feature. You added it, now you've taken it away. It's my birthday today. Please add it back. Thank you. I haven't heard back yet, so fingers crossed. But yeah, they've taken it away again. This is the trouble with being on the cutting edge, isn't it? You see it and it's great. They've still ruined the search. The search is an absolute abomination now. But I could have lived with that if I'd have had the locking ability. And the reason I was looking for the locking ability was stuff was moving. So, yeah, not great. Not great. So, Thursday. Big news on Thursday. All the Affinity apps got updated. We will be looking at that. But yeah, it's my birthday and I didn't fancy spending the last 24 hours deep diving it all. So, it'll happen soon. Just not long before I went to bed, I got an email and I had no idea what the process would be for this, but this job that I was doing on Sunday, that Notionette, that I then managed to crawl back, I got notification it had been accepted. So yes, that meant I could move on. Sadly, they opened today, I think, for that. But yeah, I got my mail, which was the most important thing, which took me through to today. And as we all now are aware, it was my birthday. So these are a selection of the cards. The first one there is from Nina and Mike. I love that because I got this card because, you know, I love dogs. Yeah, Nina would be looking at the guy, just saying. The next one is from our friends from church. The one with the dog on, with the cake, that's from Jonathan, from young Jonathan. So thank you very much, Jonathan. Love it. Absolutely love it. That dog's got eyes like Lola when she sees cake. And the one on the right-hand side, where you can just see it says Elaine, that's from the mother-in-law, isn't it?
It is.
It is. And she got it here early as well, and you've been sitting on it ever since. So those are some cards, and you guys got in very early.
Not literally sitting on it.
No, not like trying to hatch it.
Not like butt dialing.
No. Oh, God, don't. Because I had a conversation with the mother-in-law as well. And the thing was, while she's talking to me, we lost the signal once because she lives in a field, doesn't she? But once we got back on and we carried on talking, I got an incoming call. And I thought, how can I have an incoming call when I'm on a call? And it was her trying to FaceTime me. I don't think she intended to, did she?
No, she does that to me.
So I'm trying to shut the iPad up because it sounded rude that somebody else was ringing, but it wasn't somebody else. It was her. Seniors in tech. Gotta love it. Anyway, yes, it was today that level 2 got opened up. So I've had a sneak peek. What do you reckon, Carol? More or less work than the last one? Still a lot of work. So I've not done any of it yet, but I did have a look at it. Because just before we came on air, somebody surprised me with a cake. A gluten-free lemon drizzle cake, isn't it? Or is it a lemon cake with no drizzle? I'm not sure if that's drizzle or not on the top, but it was very nice. I've had a tiny piece. Obviously, I would like more of said cake, but we resisted. So we've left the majority until later, which might call for an early finish. Just saying so. All right, let's have a look what Carol says. Lots more work than last time. Oh, no. My first thought was that it says 10 all the way through it, and they made us do 20. So we've done double work. But that's what made me think it might be easier, but I should know better. It's not going to be easier, is it? It is not going to be easier. It's not. Oh, the cake was very good, I can assure you. Very, very good. I refuse to be drawn on the value of each one of those 2 candles, because it would have been a fire hazard if you put the lot on, wouldn't it? Those 2 candles, each one has a value, but I'm not prepared to be drawn on it. Your mother did say how old I was, but then said, so you're back to being he's back to being toy boy again, because Mike's 3 months younger, aren't you? So she knows that I've got him as a toy boy. Right, let's get on. So, I've got a couple of things to do with AI that were things I was doing this week and I thought were worth sharing. This first one, people ask a lot about one aspect of this, but what I'm going to show you has actually got 2 aspects. I think the second one is even better, but let's see. I've also in inverted commas, Blue Petered this, which means here's one I created earlier, just in case ChatGPT is having a moment, as it was for me, wasn't it? I wrote this fabulous prompt, and I goes to bed, couldn't sleep. I was that giddy with myself because I'd done that well. Mentioned it to Mike. When I came to show it to him, ChatGPT was doing it wrong. Thanks for that. So it could all go wrong. It could do, but never mind. We'll see it and find out. So what I'm going to do, you get 2 for this, to be honest. I'm going into the ChatGPT and YouTube. So what I'm going to... Where have you just disappeared to? Don't disappear. Back you can... Right, stay. Good browser. Right, 2 for 1 for this, because it looks like I've only got 2 tabs open. But what I decided to do, rather than have multiple browsers and not be able to find anything, I thought, what if I create in Vivaldi a workspace for each thing? So I've got my standard workspace, which is my admin workspace, which has my mail and my calendar open, hence 2 tabs. I've got my MacBites workspace that's got the page open for tonight. You can see how hard I've been working in Ship 30. I've got 10 tabs open in there. That's because I've got the replays open. And I've got 2 in Build a Second Brain, and I've got 1 tab in YouTube, which is broadcasting this event. So I created 2 extra workspaces and just opened the tabs in there that I actually needed. So let's see how that works. That's a really good use case for workspaces. Right, so what I'm showing you is a Chrome extension. Now, obviously, I'm using Vivaldi. Any browser that can use Chrome extensions will be able to use this extension. So what it is, you install it, and it does 2 things. So I already have it installed up here. When I installed it, I did need to log into ChatGPT. I'm hoping it doesn't need me to do that twice. So that is put up there. If I click it, it would open up a window that would be a new chat in ChatGPT. So it gives you a fast way to ask the AI questions. Now, if your AI is in something else, like Raycast, then you will have other ways of doing that. But this is the ChatGPT system, the one that's $20 a month thing, but there is a free account if you want one. So chat.openai.com. So that's what that's doing. If that was all it did, I wouldn't be bothering with it at all. But there is something else that it does as well. So once you've got it installed, you go to YouTube. This is Peter's Pleading Pooch's favourite video, isn't it? I did this one because it's shortish. It's 16.5 minutes. But what we've got in here, this is just a video. I have it showing in this view, which is theatre view, isn't it? But if you had a different view and this was smaller, then what I'm about to show you would be in a different place. But for me, what we're interested in is this down towards the bottom, which says transcript and summary. Now, there is a way here to get a transcript, show transcript. But it's a bit hidden, it's a bit messy. So you can show it, and it starts loading it in down here. And you can search it if you want. So that's the built-in way. But what this is giving you in here, when I click on that, it's already there. It's already loaded in. Everything is there. Which is good. And it's not broken down into as many individual, like virtually every sentence. It's in paragraphs-ish. All right. So that's what that can do. Right. You then have up here, you can copy it. So if you wanted the transcript of a video, that's a really good way of doing it. You also can jump to the current frame. So if you were halfway through this video and you wanted to get to that point in the transcript, then you just click the jump to current frame. But that's not it. That's not the clever bit. I mean, it's clever, but it's not the cleverest bit. There is something even cleverer, which is this icon here, which is the AI summary. Now, this is going to do 2 things. Obviously, it's already generated the transcript. So what you're after doing with this is taking the transcript and passing it through to the AI. But why? And this is the clever bit. That button will copy the transcript, but it will also issue a prompt before it pastes it in. So let's see that. Fingers crossed at this point. So it opens up the AI in another tab, and it should pass through to it the transcript. It will whiz me down to the bottom, but I'm going to go back to the top so we can ask it what was the actual prompt. And the prompt is summarise the following in 5 bullet points. And I thought there's a lot of text there to put that in 5 bullet points, but let's have a look and see how it did. And it's writing it down the bottom. Now, I will tell you, those 5 bullet points are very, very similar to the first time that I did it, which I've got hidden in there somewhere, the pre-flight one. So I did this yesterday just in case it went wrong. The bullets are the same, but the text is different. They're written slightly different. But it has picked up its pre-flight in Affinity Publisher. It said what pre-flight is used for, export or print correctly. It's saying what it checks, and it can be run on demand, or you can set it up automatically. It's picked up the indicator icons with different colours. It's picked up the fact that I talk about profiles and creating pre-flight profiles. And then it's finished off with that there's a notes to self system that you can use as well. So actually, in 5 bullet points, that's pretty accurate. That is pretty accurate. So whether you actually want the full transcript, because this is not as neat and tidy as something like Otter, but it is the full transcript, or you want it summarised like this, that's pretty useful. As somebody who is consuming a video, you might want to watch the video, make your own notes, and then get this to generate the 5 bullet points so you don't have to put down your own summary of the entire content. You may have made notes on one tiny part of it, but if you generate those 5 bullet points, you can copy and paste that into your notes and you would have a full overview of what is in that video. Now, as the content creator, like me, I would look at that and think, if I upload my video and I let it process, then I run this against it before I make it public, I could generate the description from that. I could either tell it to do a description and include the same thing, or I could actually take the bullet points, or I could expand it and ask it to do 10 bullet points, whatever I wanted. And it saves me having to break down my own content and make it searchable. So I think that's fabulous. You going to use that?
Yeah, give it a go.
Once more with enthusiasm.
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Hey, it worked. It worked. Shall I do one of your videos? Let's push it. Let's push it now and see if I can do... No, I do not. See on the clipboard. Don't see why you need to. Go away. Right, let's go and find Mike then. What was your last video? Merge something.
More query.
More query. Mike. There we go. Hopefully it'll come up with Mike. Oh, it does. It's you. Excellent. Right. It's taking its... Oh, Mike Thomas Live. Good vibes. Is that you? You've been up to something. Right. There we go. So that's Mike's video. Don't start playing, because YouTube is very upset if you do. No. Don't play. Just sit there. Right. So in the transcript and summary again, I will click on that. And it will have a think about it. I would have thought it was reading that in, but it seems to be quite slow at the minute, doesn't it? But there it is. Right, so from there, I'll do the same. It should open another chat. So it won't add it to the same chat. We'll open another chat. And it will paste the transcript in and then hopefully summarise that. And then we can see Mike and get him to tell us, is that good, bad or indifferent? So, yes, I think bullet one's okay. Free add-in, yes. It's not capitalised a name there, but you could probably fix that. And the fact that it adds in 4 additional data sources, how to use it, and then the video demonstrates 2 features of the add-in. So, can you see that? How good's that?
I can. Scroll too fast, but it looks... Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, there you go then. So it doesn't just work with mine, it works with Mike's as well. I don't know how well it would perform on longer videos. I mean, if it's taking 5 bullet points from a short video, you may want to increase the number. But you could ask it to write more. You could say to it, give me...
I don't know where it's got the applause from at the end.
I've no idea. Must be your music.
Yeah.
There you go. Give me more details, and it gives you more details. Oh, it's just too good. ChatGPT is too good, isn't it? This is why they want it banned. I can't live without it now, so they're not taking it away. So that was the first thing in ChatGPT, which is this little extension. So it does two things. One, you can just get to ChatGPT from it. But secondly, I don't know why they've added it like that. It kind of doesn't make sense, but never mind, it works. And the other thing is you can generate a summary and you can get the bullet points. So do we have any questions on that?
We don't. No.
Not one, do we not? Oh, Tracy's compiling a compendium. That should be fun. Carol set it up and loves it. Excellent. And Richard's going to give it a go. Once you've got that transcript in there, you could ask it to do anything else on that. I'm wondering, this is something I haven't done, but this transcript that we've got, it'd be good if it could format it. So let's say format the original text in paragraphs. Let's see if it can. There you go. So if you want it, if that transcript's a bit messy, you could actually ask it to format it into paragraphs. So it's not doing two. Oh, yes, it is. There we go. So yes, it's reformatting it. It's just genius, isn't it? And if it's tell it to carry on. It's a great way for me to get a transcript of it. Because I go off piste, I don't have a script and stick to it. Just, you know me. But there you go, it will rewrite it for you. So, particularly useful. Right, what's this? It's free, Tracy. It's just an extension for Chrome, just like any other extension. So, although there are a handful of extensions that charge, this one's totally free. So no, you just need to download it and install it. And as I say, it will work in any browser that supports Chrome extensions. So it's completely working in Vivaldi. There are a couple of extensions I've tried in Vivaldi that are a bit awkward, but this one works perfectly. It will work with a free ChatGPT account, although mine is a plus one. But ChatGPT, you can get a free account. When we were trying to sign up all those months ago, it was busy at times, wasn't it? And neither of us could get signed up. And if you tried to sign up twice, you know, it said like, it's busy. If you tried to sign up twice, then it blocked the IP. So we tried a couple of days running, didn't we? And then I think you disappeared into the garden with the dog. I think you gave her a lunch. She's a dog who lunches, isn't she? Spoiled rotten. So Mike disappeared into the garden after she'd had her treat. And I thought, oh, I'll just give ChatGPT another go. And it was open for sign-ups. So Saturday afternoon UK time was a good time, which would be early-ish on Saturday morning if you're trying to get a free account. So I shouted out the window, never mind feeding the dog, ChatGPT's open for sign-ups. So she came up and had her treat up here. But yes, the whole thing is free. The whole thing is free. Right, okay.
It wants to know if it's legal to summarise others' content and use it for your own purpose.
It's possibly a grey area, isn't it? It depends what that purpose is. If it's to pass it off as your own, so if you took the script and used that, I'd probably have something to say about it. But in terms of the bullet points, you know, it's a summary of what was said. So if you had written it, that would not be copyrightable because it's a summary that you have written. So the fact that the AI has written it on a prompt from you, I mean, there are going to be grey areas, but it depends what you're doing with it. If it's in your notes, you're absolutely fine. But if you think about it, how many books do you see that are summaries of other content? So there's short form, there's Blinkist. If you actually go to Audible or Amazon, you will find books that are a summary of. So it could be a summary of GTD, a summary of the Build a Second Brain book, a summary of Atomic Habits, and they're fine. It's their interpretation. Now, it is reworded. Obviously, you can't take the original verbatim and just, you know, include that. But if it's a summary, you should be all right. Which could be good or it could be bad. Right, let's have a look. What are the differences between the free and paid accounts? It's so popular. It's the service that got to 1 billion fastest ever So it's very, very busy. So the first difference is if you pay, you are guaranteed access. If you pay, you can also use version 4 of it. So if we go back into what ChatGPT looks like, it says at the top, model default GPT 3.5. If I get a new chat, you can see that mine's got the plus next to it. So at the top, I have the option to choose 3.5 or 4. 4 is the best model, as it says. It's the most capable. It's great for tasks that require creativity and advanced reasoning, and hence it being available exclusively to Plus users. But there is a limit on it. Does it tell you what the limit is? Yeah, 25 messages every 3 hours. So if I was doing something that, I could do in 25 messages, then fine. But if I was doing something like this thing for the captain's table, 25 messages every 3 hours, no, that's not going to work, is it, Carol? You get 25 messages in 25 seconds. So for that, I'd use 3.5 anyway. But those are the main differences. You're guaranteed access and you've got access to a better model. How busy it is at the moment, when I had a free account, it got busy quite a lot. I think I've only been told it's too busy once since I got a paid account. It's very much time related. So I'm quite lucky in a way that the UK are asleep when I'm using it the majority of the time, except last Sunday. But I had no problems last Sunday because, if the UK are asleep, America's awake. So it just depends. But those are the two main differences. Do we have any other questions?
No.
Right, Richard says, if it's AI generated, surely there's no owner of the IP. Well, it depends what trained the AI, Richard. So that at the moment, there's a lot of controversy in terms of if the AI just scraped information off the internet and they took things off my site that I had written and used that as the basis of the information, they shouldn't be doing that. But it like I say, it's very, very grey at the moment. It's going to need to be tested before we come up with rules and regulations about it. You believe they're building AI to identify AI-generated output? Yes, they are. There are some sites already available that do that. They are particularly popular with teachers, and I'm sure you can imagine why. So you are able to take content and run it through these checkers, and it will come back with a percentage that it reckons, not a percentage of the content, but the percentage that it thinks is AI generated. So let's say you've written something and it will come back and say, I think there's a 10% chance that this was AI generated. Then the odds are it's not. But if it comes back and says there's a 90% chance that this is AI generated, then at least part of it probably is. So that's what those services can do, and they're available right now. What else have we got? Number 4 would not be useful. Version 4 would not be useful for the idea file. Absolutely not. Oh, good grief, last week. Oh, I did actually. Do you know what? You know the best time to write the prompts in the way the prompt should have been written in the first place, Dickie? When I'd finished it. I thought, just a minute, if I do this and I do that and I ask it that and I inject this, and then I pushed a button and then out popped another idea file, and I thought, that's better. He's making us work. But yeah, I think I'd want 25 messages every hour for that to be viable. But it'll probably come. Although having said that, as they increase their capacity, more and more people are using it. So don't know which way it's going to go at the moment. And they've said that 4, while they brought out 4 not long after 3.5, don't hold your breath for 4.5. And I can understand that, because now they need to worry about capacity and users using it for nefarious purposes, etc. So I think 4.5 and 5 will be a lot further down the line. But that is what it can do, and yes, you can do all of that completely free. Okay, so we'll head off into the second thing I wanted to try was generating mind maps. Now, the thing is with AI, and particularly, there are different, not models, but different providers of AI. So ChatGPT tends to be one of the master sources. And if you've got something like Notion, and that's got AI in it, they will be using ChatGPT, but through the API. So the request from Raycast will go through the Raycast system and up to the ChatGPT system and back the other way. So some of them are using ChatGPT. There are other systems that are more visual, like Canva, where they're using text to images, and Adobe Firefly that we looked at last week, and they're using text to images. So I thought, well, what can it do in terms of visualizations? So this was what I tested. So I'll switch out of here into the mind map. So there is it's not exactly a system or a service. It's an online thing called markmap.js. So it's JavaScript based, and it's a syntax that lets you take text, as you can see on the left hand side here, and turn it into a visual on the right hand side there. So I looked at this and I thought that looks mighty messy to write, doesn't it? So I did in here, let's open drafts. Right, because I've got it in here somewhere. Would have been handy to know where, wouldn't it? Let's have a look. It's in there somewhere. Right, let me do a search. Okay, so what I did was I thought, well, you need quite a lot of information here. You would need it in the format that this could understand, but you would also need the actual content of the mind map. And where's that coming from? If you had a mind map, you wouldn't need to generate one. So where's the content of that actually coming from? So let me get into there. Why are you not showing me what you should be showing me? Ever had one of those moments, Mike? No, it's showing me nothing. Did you mention this week in tech fail? Crying out loud. Right, I'm going to go back one at a time and I'll find it. Right, not those. So what I've done is I have created a prompt. I've created 2 prompts. There they are. That's better. Right, so the first one, I thought, right, would it understand markmap.js, which is what we've got here. So in the chat here, I've got a new chat. It's just 3.5. And this was the prompt that I wrote. So create an outline of an Affinity Publisher course for beginners. So that first part of the prompt means that I don't actually have to think about the content of this mind map. I want a kind of starting point, is what I want. It's unlikely to be perfect, but it will give me a starting point to create a course outline. Then create topics for the course and the subtopics. Finally, I tell it to format the output in the markmap.js formatting style. Now, sometimes it gets this and sometimes it doesn't. You know how tantalising it is when the first time you do it and it works? That. But we'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. Are you in a good mood? Oh, you're in a good mood. Excellent. Right. It's done exactly that. So let's have a look at the content first. Affinity Publisher course for beginners. Awesome. Introduction to Affinity Publisher. That is your first module or topic. And the subtopics there, you've got overview, key features and benefits, system requirements, installation and setup, and then it gets on to get going with Affinity Publisher. So content-wise, reasonable. Some of it might not be 100%. I'd have to read through it, but it's not bad as a starting point. That's the content. Now the format of it, you can see it's indented. So it's a nice outline that it's created. But a lot of the time it returns that to you in a different format. So the kind of format that you've seen already with the transcript, it's just text spewed up on a page. This is in a dark background container. And that's because it's code and it understands that, which means we get a one-click copy. We can just click on the top there and copy it. So this is the same kind of code block that you would see in Notion or you would see in Craft or even Obsidian. You can use callouts in Obsidian. So I've copied it from there. So all of that being copied. Then go over to the mind map in here get rid of that. I don't know if I need that top line or not. Let me get rid of it. I think it's content. So get rid of that. It all disappears on the right hand side. And let's paste that in and see what it makes of it. Pretty decent. So now I've got a starting point. This is like the core node of the mind map, Finish to Publish a Course for Beginners. And hanging off that, I've got the top level modules. And then next to that, I've got the detail. So in here, I could reorganize these, I could edit them, I could delete them, I could add ones of my own. What the AI is fantastic at is giving you a starting point. Now, you may be thinking, well, anybody could go in and do that, and then we'd all have the same course. But it's different every time you do it. So I would suggest doing it at least 3 to 4 times, and then cherry picking the content and the order that you think is best. But the point of what I'm showing here is just the fact it can actually do it. Now, you can navigate that in here. So you can fold these up in here. This is totally interactive and it's totally free. You can download as SVG, but the problem with SVG is that's just a scalable vector graphic. It's just a graphic. You do have the opportunity to download as an interactive HTML file. So if I click on that, it will download that in the background. I will go find my downloads folder. And hopefully it's the one at the top. You've got it. Awesome. Right, let's drag this file, which is just a HTML file. The reason it's got a 1 after it is that I've done this before in case it didn't work. Are you going to open that in Vivaldi for me or not? Oh, you're just going to be in a mood. Right, let's try that again a different way. I think I'm killing the machine at this point. Right, let's try and get it open. There we go. So you can see that this file is in my downloads folder. It's not on the internet, it's local. But the thing with this is, it is still interactive. So you can zoom out, you can zoom in, you can get it so it's in the right position and you can see all of it. You can fold this up. So you can work with this totally offline when you've got it, which was grand. I think that's incredibly impressive. Before I move on to the next bit, have we got any questions on that?
No, we haven't.
Right, okay. So that's good as far as it goes, but my issue with it would be, in that format, I can manipulate it and I can move these things around. You know, if I wanted to have, let's have a look, page management and working with colour, something like that. If I wanted to move it, I could move it. I could add extra bits in. But how would I take that out of here in a format that I could create an outline from? And the answer to that is you don't. That's the format you've got. So at that point, I thought, I wonder if I could take this content and use it in MindNode, which is my mind mapping app of choice. Now, my app supports OPML, which is Outline Programming Markup Language, I believe, OPML. It's a standard for storing plain text in a format that can be read by multiple applications as an outline. So I decided that I would take that content and I would put it in a file. I would give it the extension of OPML. This did not end well. So I thought, oh no. So I need something that can convert this, which is the base information, to OPML. Ponders. And then I thought, no, I don't. I do not need something that converts this into a different format. What I need to do is to go back here and ask the AI to generate it in a different format. That's what I need. So we'll try it with the 1-line prompt, because at this stage, if we assume that we've got this information and we're happy with the outline that we've got, then I really want it to take that and format it in OPML. Format the output in OPML formatting. So let it have a ponder. It's taken exactly the same information, even though I didn't clarify that, and it's formatted it in what looks like XML. Now, XML is Extensible Markup Language. And this came out, it must be about, 15, 20 years ago now? And it was a format that allowed the format to be self-described, which sounds, what on earth does that mean? But if you look at it, it's XML, but then the second line says OPML version 2.0. It then declares a head title. So in the head tags, we've got a title, and then it declares the body, and then it's outlining it. Outline text is, outline text is. So that is what OPML looks like. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go into a text editor, and my text editor of choice has got all kinds of stuff open in it, so I'll use this one. But all I'm doing is pasting that in. I would then need to save that as an OPML file. So we'll put it in a reasonable place. That's what we'll do. We'll put it in there. Right, so initially it thinks it's text, but I don't want it to be text. So we'll have this as course outline.opml and save it there. Now, because I've given it an extension of OPML, or it's picked up the XML at the top because of the extension, it's now color-coded. And what it's done over here in this editor, and this editor's totally free, you can get this in the App Store, you find the link, Mike. There's all these file formats that it supports, and it understands that this one is XML. So I'm going to close that down. So I just have this tiny file in my folder. So let me get to the right folder. There we go. And that is what that actually looks like. So it says OPML on it. If I right click on that and do me open with, it will tell you that the default for handling it is Cloud Outliner, which is not where I want it. But never mind. Right, I'm going to put that over here, and I'm going to open up my Mind Map app of choice, which is MindNode. So MindNode will open, and there'll be a dialog box that will expect me to open a file. But the files that it is looking at are going to be on iCloud in the MindNode folder. And that's not what I want in terms of it opening. So here it is. These are all my mind maps. But I actually want to open the OPML file. Now my mouse has disappeared. Where are you? That I've just put in this folder. So there it is, course outline. And it's going to have a look at it here. You can see it's still text, but let's open it. And fingers crossed it likes the format. There we go. So make that full screen. And you can see now what we've got is exactly the same information, but it's in our mind map app of choice, which means it's fully editable. Right, the first thing I do to make it more readable, because we've got some lines here, that one and these that are double length. You know, they're wrapping and I don't want them wrapping. So I choose all of those and extend them into a single line. But now I can edit this, I can do whatever I want with it. But because it's MindNode, I also have in here the ability to view it as an outline, all colour-coded to match the mind map. I can even see both at the same time if I want. So my outline's over here and this is my mind map. And any changes I make to the outline are instantly replicated through to the mind map. And the beauty of this is I didn't have to waste my time creating it. I'm not saying that I would stick with all of this. I probably wouldn't, but it's fantastic just to have a head start. If only, you know, I'm quite happy to do an outline by myself, but I'd still create an outline in the AI, now I have it, because I'd go through the outline and think, is there anything I've missed? And it could be, you know, if you look at some of this, what we got in here. No, we don't want to do that. That's what we want to do. Right. Say in the advanced section, I don't think I would have put in automations and shortcuts. I really don't think I would. So even if I decided against putting it in, this has reminded me, you know, think about it. Is that something that you want to put in? Today I saw a question about transparency. Again, I may not have put that in. You will put in what is front of mind. This can fill in the blanks for you. If I'm going up here, the pen and the shape tool, I would extend that considerably. I could ask the AI to go more detail than that, but once I've got a topic like that, I will probably extend that myself. But now it's in a format that I can work with, and from in here I can export it as a text-based outline. I can export it in all kinds of formats. So go to File, and we go to Export to. I can have a PDF. I can convert it for FreeMind. You can export it back if you want to. Come on. I know you're getting tired. You can export it back to OPML. You can have it as an image. You can export it as Markdown, which means I could take it straight into Obsidian, or text, or you can turn it into a task. Because within here, you have the ability, if you want, this isn't something that I ever do, I'll be honest. But I don't even know where it is, to be honest, because I never, ever, ever use it. Is it this? Is it you? Yes. So what I've done with that is I've turned it into a to-do. So now I have this dot next to it, which means I could export this as a list of tasks and put it into a task manager. I think Things will do that. I think Todoist will do that. Possibly even Microsoft To Do. So it's about integration and working quickly at this stage, and not having your stuff, great, it's a mind map, but it's locked away in a HTML page. So that to me is fantastic, because that's how I'm more likely to throw a course together. I'm likely to move things around. OPML is also supported by Scrivener, so I could import that straight into Scrivener. It doesn't have to be into a mind map. It could be into other apps. So do we have any questions on that?
Only the one. Renault says, can you take this to Whimsical?
I don't know if Whimsical can import. I'm sure there's a Whimsical format, but I moved Whimsical, the second half of Whimsical again, to next week. So, Mike, make a note of that, and I will find out, Renee, see how far you can take it with that. Virtually every app is getting AI anyway. You may be able to do it directly, but I will check that and I will report back. Do we have anything else?
No.
Okay. What editor was that with the colour coding? It's called Cot Edit. So if I go into here, we've talked about it before. It's a plain text editor, but it's totally free, and it supports all kinds of formats. So if I go into the search, Cot Edit, come on, where you go. Oh, my poor machine, I think it's going to melt. I'm going to close some apps down shortly, so don't worry. Come on. Tell me it's called Cot Edit.
It's called Cot Editor.
It's not going up with Cot Edit. Oh, come on. Oh, now I've hit the go full screen button. I'll regret this. There it is, editor. Right. So it's a text editor, but it's got some really advanced features in terms of the find and replace and all kinds of stuff. So as long as you tell the editor what format the text is, then it will colour code it for you. Doesn't matter. Obviously it can't colour code text, but it can colour code anything with a structure. So HTML, OPML, XML, anything like that, CSS, it can do all of that. And that's what it looks like when it's colour-coded. So that one is actually a graphic. It can open an SVG file and you can actually see the format of it. So SVG is just another type of XML. So you can see at the top it's XML, just like OPML, but it's SVG, and then there's a version number and then the instructions. And from that, it will show you a graphic. I know some people actually do edit SVGs by going into a text editor. If you just want to change the size of it, you can very quickly do that in there. But Cot Editor is a very good editor. Very, very good. And it's completely free. So you can't go wrong with free, can you? I wish there was a way to support them, actually. But it is very, very good. My preference is Sublime Text, but only because of the way that I can edit quickly in it. I have three main text editors. I have Sublime Text, I have BB Edit, and BB Edit I use for the automation features of it. And the third one is Cot Editor. Now, BB Edit, I actually have in it scripts that do specific things. But the other night, when I was plugging my way through this almighty file that Carol and I have created, I came to a point and I thought, I need to format this. So I'll run it through a BBEdit script and then I'll paste it into Notion. It was a living nightmare. But at the end of it, I had written out in plain English what it needed to do. And as I was looking at it, I thought, I don't need this. Because there was part of it broken in BBEdit. And I thought, how am I going to get around this bit that's broken? And then I thought, just a minute, I don't need to. I'll just ask the AI to do it. So once I had a list of steps, precise steps, so that it's a list of precise steps in terms of it needs to be precise if I'm going to code it. It needs to be predictable so I know what code to write. And having that list of predictable steps meant that I could go to the AI and just say, okay, follow these steps. 1, do this. 2, do that. And then the output was absolutely perfect. Until Mike walked in and then broke it, didn't you? It all went wrong when Mike walked in. And then when you went out to take Lola, it started working again. So when he came back, I said, just stand there and let me run it and make sure it's not you. And by that stage, it was working. So text editors, I don't know how people live without a text editor. So that is how you make mind maps. And this would probably work in other applications. So if you use a different mind map app, as long as it can import OPML, you are good to go. Right, anything else before we move on?
No.
Patricia says, it blows me away how many apps you use and various editors. Every time I think to simplify, Lane introduces me to a new app. How many Apple apps have I downloaded and used? Oh, that's a good question. Right, in terms of how many apps I have just enough. If I have an app and I'm saying, okay, it's part of my tech stack, you need to ask me the question, why? And if I can't answer, it shouldn't be part of my tech stack. So it's not, for me, a matter of how many apps. It's whether they all have a distinct function or role. So yes, I do have a lot of apps, but each one does do a specific thing. I have no idea how to code Sublime Text. No idea. But I can code in BBEdit. So that's when I would use BBEdit. You saw tonight, I needed something to paste that into. And my Sublime Text, when you close Sublime Text, if you've got 5 tabs open, it keeps them open like a browser. And I've been working on these scripts, the one that Carol's been working on, and they're just left open in there while I'm editing them. So I choose to use a different editor because I know the other editor is busy. Now, in terms of how many Apple apps do I have downloaded and used? Not as many as I used to. So when I switched to a Mac in 2006, it was like, Microsoft is now dead to me, and I'm going to use everything from Apple. And I did. I used the Contacts app, I used the Mail app, Safari, all the iWork apps, Final Cut Pro, you name it. Everything was Apple. I don't think I use any. Can you think of any that I now use?
No.
I used to use Keynote, obviously, but if you delete my slides, you're dead to me. So that one had gone. I use Numbers, but I switched to Google Sheets. And it's actually way better for me that my sheets are... Now, the reason that I switched with Numbers was that we were sharing files, weren't we? And it kept stopping sharing them. So I thought, do you know what? If we just move to Google Sheets, that'll just work. And it did. I never really used Pages to any great degree. I did use iBooks Author, but that's no longer with us. I've got Final Cut Pro, I've got Logic Pro, but I don't really use them. I can use them if I need to, but I don't need to. So I don't think I actually use much from Apple. If anyone can think of anything, let me know. But I use BusyCal, not Calendar. I use Vivaldi, not Safari. I don't think there's anything left with Apple. I don't. And Carol likes the fact you can import it into Scrivener. Yeah, Scrivener's very forgiving as well. I love to import things into Scrivener because I can manipulate it in a text file and then take it in. My issue with that is I wish you could define the icon, because if I take in loads of stuff in an outline and I want to change the icon to something else, then I have to do it one by one. That would be great if I could do that. That would be a time saver. So the file I'm thinking of with that is the mail file. So we generate all the emails that you guys get with Scrivener, and it's all organised by week. So it's organised by year. But well, first of all, it's organised by where it's going to. So the MacBites one is one whole thing. Although I think I merged them. So it's organised by year and then week within that. I can show you that if you're interested. But yeah, that's what we use it for. Absolutely. Right. Okay. Let's come to... I've got a sneaking suspicion you're next, you know. Oh, no, you're not, are you? No, you're not. I'm lying. Right. I'll get rid of that because we're going into some easy photo editing with neural filters. Who's heard of neural filters? Let me know if you've heard. You're about to be horrified, but let me know if you've heard of neural filters. Okay, let's get in here, get rid of this. I will save that. No idea what I'm calling it, but I will. Because I want to close it down. I want to give this at least some kind of fighting chance of running the next app. Right, that's saved. Let's come out of there. Get rid of this over there. There we go. Right, so the app in question, which has neural filter, nobody's saying anything. Have you noticed that? They're all frantically looking around Affinity Photo now for neural filters. You're going to be disappointed. Oh, Deb has. There you go. Oh, Carol, you're going to love this. Oh, you are, because I've deliberately picked pictures of pretty birdies towards the end of it. Right. It's because they're in Photoshop, not Affinity Publisher, Affinity Photo. But I had a bit of a snotogram this week. I get these snotograms. Why do you have Photoshop as well as Affinity Photo? And the answer to that really should be, what's it got to do with you, how I spend my money? But obviously, apparently, that's not socially acceptable. It is in my mind. So I thought, let's subtitle this demo, why somebody might choose to pay for Photoshop. Let's say that. Right. So I have a folder called Neural Filters. In this, in no particular order, I've got 7 files. So we'll start off with something fairly straightforward. Right, what I'm doing is all the images that I've got are black and white. So I have this image. So I'm going to drag it in there. Hopefully it'll have a think about opening it and consider that it would be a wise move, or I'll get upset. Oh, spinning beach ball. But you know, it's doing quite a lot, isn't it? Why did something flash up there then? And why did nothing happen? But there we go. Right, black and white image. So what happened last year was Photoshop added what they're calling neural filters. They brought them out for you to test, but they were marked as being in beta. Some of them still are. Now, we could play with these for weeks. Trust me, they are utterly amazing. I thought we'd start off with recolouring with neural filters. So I've got this black and white image. So you will find the neural filter under filter, neural filters, logically. Right. So it opens up this panel, neural filters, and it loses all the other panels. So it's opening this up and it's loading in live what's available. So what we have is all the filters here, and as you can see, some of them are on a wait list. So some of them, they're not downloaded. So you've got this one here that's got the cloud, that I can download it. This one's downloaded, but it's not enabled. I've got this landscape mixer, which is in beta. So it's really an eclectic collection of magic that you can perform on images. So, for instance, if you wanted to transfer a style from one image to another, you could do. If you want to harmonise the colours, you could do. So, technically, what you should end up with should be pretty perfect. So, I'm going to look at the colour options. So, that's this one here, Colorise. So, as I'm hovering, you can see what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to colour images. Now, obviously, you can do all of this manually, and you have been able to for the last 30 years in Photoshop. But you need to know what you're doing, and it takes some time. It takes some time to get a result that looks realistic. There'll be a lot of trial and error. But let's enable this Colorise option here. So we're going to colorise it. Let's turn that on. Processing on device. It's not sending it anywhere. It's doing it locally. So it's having a look at the image and recolouring it for you. Wow. That's why I use Photoshop sometimes, because, life's too short. How long would that take if you were trying to do it manually? Now, the sky would be easy, but the wall less so. You can tweak it if you want, but I've done nothing. Literally, I just said, here's a photo. I didn't even optimize the black and white version. So I could have tweaked the black and white version. I have just taken this from a stock image site and just run it through it. That's it. Not done anything else at all. You can tweak it if you like. But in answer to the said snotogram about why you would pay for it, this is why. If you can imagine you've got a company and they need to process 50 images, they've not got time to waste. Time is money. And although I'm the first to admit, Adobe Creative Cloud is hideously expensive. But if you are a professional with it and you are charging for your services, you need to get the work done as quickly as possible. And that is why. So, as I say, not done anything with that at all. I will need to do more with some of the images that come up. But it is as simple as that to do it. Now, at this point, you've got this image and it's sort of in suspended animation. It is now sat there, but it isn't part of the image that we opened. It's just in this neural filters. So over here on the right-hand side where we've got all of the options, you can now start to try and tweak it if you want it tweaked. So if you wanted to bump up the saturation, you could do that. If you wanted to make it more red, more cyan, magenta, green, yellow, blue, you could do that as well. So now we've got that much more saturated. Once you're ready to output it, and this interface has recently changed, you've got output options here. So in here you have the option to output as a new colour layer. But you also have at the bottom another output option, which is, do you want the current layer, a new layer with a mask, a smart filter? How do you want this created? You could even create a new document. What I'll show you is if I put a tick in the new colour layer, it will change this at the bottom. So once it's finished, that is the layer it's going to create, and it means that you can tweak it when you're back in the standard tools of Photoshop. So I'll OK that. And in we go. So now I've got my original black and white image and I've got this layer, which is a colour layer. So you can see that the blend mode is set to colour. I could in here then start playing around with the fill on it. So it's just got a bit of colour, and I can use any other of the tools to carry on tweaking that. And you would save that with the layers and then you can go back and you can edit it. You could with this one, because the sky is so obvious, you could probably exchange that completely and put one with clouds in if you want. To me, the time saving on that is all of the brown colouring on the wall. That is the time saving aspect of it. But there you have it. That is number one. Right, so at this point, if I were to save that, prompt to save it, I will put it in this folder that I've got, should it ever decide to let me save it. There we go, but I don't want it in there. Oh, that's actually quite right. That's exactly where I want to put it. So I'll put there, that one, OTN on the night. And I've now got a Photoshop version of that I can edit. Now, the beauty of this is if you prefer Adobe Affinity Photo, but Affinity Photo can't do that, no problem. Just do it in here and then take it into it. So let's get rid of that one. No, I'm not asking you to do anything. Right, let's just close that down. Right, so that was the first one. What have I got up next? Oh yes, I've got the pretty cat next. Right, so the next one is a photo of a cat. Again, it's black and white. Not the cat, the photo. The cat is a tabby cat. Looks a bit like Oscar, doesn't it? And Bobby. But in terms of me colouring that, I would say that was fractionally dark. But I'm not going to fiddle with it. This is not about fiddling with it. It's about getting the job done as fast as possible. So straight into the filters, neural filters. Again, all I'm going to do is hit the colorize option. I will take this one a little bit further though. But enable the colorize option. It will have a think about it. And as again, it's processing on the device. It's not sending anything anywhere. And that's not bad. That is not bad. That looks like a tabby cat to me. Right down to the little pink paw and the pink on the nose. So again, I've got options in here if I want to increase the saturation a bit. I think I always like to increase the saturation a bit. Let's have a look at that. Not too much, just enough. Yeah, it's nice and warm. Right, and I'm going to output this as new colour layer. So once it's done that, I'm going to OK it and into the standard editor. There we go. So this is the layer that's providing the colour, but I think that could look better. I think it would be nice if the eyes had a bit of colour. Now, obviously it couldn't pick that up, but that doesn't stop me. So what I'm thinking is, round the edge here, I've seen like green, sometimes even blue, but green is quite common. So, again, I don't want to spend that long on it. I could spend hours on this and make it absolutely perfect, but you know, good enough is good enough. So what I need in here is another layer that I can play around with. I need the brush tool, standard brush tool, that'll do. And I need a colour, so we'll go for some kind of green down here. Don't even know what kind of green would be right, but we'll try that. And we're painting on this layer. So if I go in there, and obviously it's going to look shocking, and I'm using a mouse as well just to add to the general hilarity, but we'll go in and we will make a very rough colour addition. This is not how I would do it, but I've seen a lot of people start this way, so we'll start this way, shall we? Right, don't want that. I like that. That's not bad. Obviously, what I see people do is that, where they just paint on a layer and then change the opacity of it and say that that's not bad. It might not be, but it doesn't look very natural either. But if you change the colour mode, the blend mode to colour, and then take it down, you can see what's behind the green. So I'll take that down a little bit and zoom out. And once you've zoomed out, not bad at all. Once you've done that, when it comes to doing the second bit, and you go in there, so choosing the layer, making sure I've got the brush, might need a bit of a bigger brush at that stage. Then you're painting on and it's looking far more natural because it's not standard blend mode at 100%. So now you're actually painting on that colour around there. And yeah, that's just below it. So let's do that and zoom out. And now we have picture of pretty cat. You could change the opacity on that, you could change the fill on that, and you could play around with different blend modes. It wouldn't have to be colour, although I don't think that looks particularly great. But if you have a play around, you can get different effects. So multiplying stuff, it's taking the green, it's multiplying it with what's already there. I personally think the colour probably looks best, but you could if you wanted, and then I think I would take that down a smidgen. So that time, it did half the work, I did a tiny bit of the work. Okay, so that is the cat. I've no idea what's coming up next. We got any questions at that point?
No.
Yeah, I'm going to show that, Deb. I think that's what's coming up next. The manual bit that you can do. It doesn't look right. Right, so let's put the cat in there and close the cat down when the cat has finished saving. And let's go and have a look what number 3 was. I think number 3 was the most difficult one. Oh, it was. Right. This is a picture of a girl, and I think she stood in front of water of some description and possibly a beach, but this one proved a bit trickier. It's not the best black and white image to start with, is it? But let's have a look at it. So up filters, down to neural filters, enable the colour option, and it will need a bit of help. I think it needed help in 2 ways, but we'll find that when it gets there. Right, let's colorise it, see what it comes up with. And from memory, it wasn't great. So the blue here is indicating that that's water, but this is the wrong colour. And this is also a bit blue here. The sky could do with being a bit bluer, But I think this is the biggest problem we've got over here at the moment. The jumper's not bad, but there is one part of this which is going to be catastrophic, which is this bit here, which will need fixing manually. It thinks this is marking the outline of her, rather than this bit in the middle of it needing to match the background. So that's its problem. But it also needs a bit of help. So you've got this option here where it says manually colour image, but it also says auto colour image. But the bit that's wrong is this bit here. That could do with being a bit bluer. So if I click on there and I tell it I would like it to be blue, not quite sure what kind of blue, let's try that kind of blue, and I've put that colour on there, that should ripple through over here, which it doesn't look like it is doing at the moment. Let's try, there we go. So I've put on a dot and said, right, radiate out from this dot with this colour blue. Now that colour isn't actually 100%, is it? It's nice, it's a nice blue, but it's not matching this down here. One thing I could do is click on that bit and it will turn that bit more aqua. So that bit should then match that. Problem is, sand's gone. So this will either need to be moved up, or we'll need to put a colour on it and tell it that that's the sand. So we'll see what it makes if I move it up a bit. I like the blue, don't like the sand. So what I now need to do is have a look at that and think, what colour should that sand be? So I then use, this is purely a workflow thing for me, but that colour there, just under her hair, actually looks quite nice for the sand. So I use colour slur to enable it, like that. Where have you disappeared to? Right, so if I hover over this bit here, that's what I'm looking for. That has copied the hex code to the clipboard. So if I come down here and I add another dot, I'm going to get blue. But I can change that. So if I click on here, it's on my clipboard, so I can just paste it in and that gives me the new colour. And that will change the colour well here, and it will change the selected dot, and you can see it now turns it to sand. Right, what else have we got? It's possibly a bit blue, but never mind. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that the sand we've got over here matches. So I'll probably put 3 in there to take it up. Obviously that blue is well oversaturated, but I like it, so I'm sticking with it. It's demonstration purposes anyway. There's no point having a demonstration if it doesn't match, is there? Right, let's have a look how that's doing. How are you doing? Not bad at all. In fact, to the point that this here isn't looking as bad as it did the first time I did it. It's not matching, but it's not far off. When I did it the first time, I think it was blue. It was shocking. And the last thing I might want to do is select my blue here, which adds it down here, which means I can click up there and get the blue. So if you select a colour in the colorize options, that the pegs that you've put in here, it will load it in for you. And you can see up there now, it's more blue. It's possibly too blue. But what I can do is use this strength to take that down. So if I don't want the sky quite as saturated, I can just put that up there, take it down, it will regenerate it and take it down a bit. So I actually think we can do with that even less. So that one, slightly different, needed a bit of help that, but what we've ended up with is not actually bad. That is not bad, apart from the fact the blue looks a little bit too blue. But, you know, if I thought the blue was too blue, I could desaturate the whole thing if I wanted to, or I could go through and change this blue so it was slightly less garish, but I like blue. Blue's my favourite colour. So let's have a look how that looks if I take out down the saturation. I think that's about right. So again, I'm going to choose this as a new colour layer just because I can. And once we've done that, we will take it back into Photoshop. So that time we started with the automatic options, but we ended up actually tweaking it slightly. And that is what we've ended up with. So very natural. I think the clothes here and the face tones are really natural. So that was a trickier one, but we've done it. So I'll save that one. I think we're now onto the birds. We might not be. I'm not sure what number 4 is. I am not sure. We will find out. We got any questions? while I'm doing this?
I don't think so. Let me just check.
Did I see wow?
Yes, you did see wow. Yeah, Richard says wow, impressed.
It is a stunning feature, it really is. And trust me, this is only the tip of the iceberg. I'll do more next week if you like, that are particularly magic. I thought I'd saved you. I'm sure I'd saved you. We'll say yes. Go on. Oh, it's saving. That's what's wrong with it. Right. Let's get on to the birdies. Right. So first one I've got. I've called it bird. That's not exactly helpful, is it? I've no idea what kind of bird. Carol will know. Right. I thought was a very poor black and white image, and I wondered what on earth it could do with that. I've no idea what the background colour should be, but actually the bird stands out very nicely, that it's a very dark background. But beyond that, I've no idea. It just looks pretty mean to me. But I'm no bird expert. Right, so I thought with this it needs to be really subtle, but if I was doing it manually, I really wouldn't know what colours to go for. So I thought, try it in here and then tweak it. So let's just colorise that. I did not hold out high hopes for this one, I'll be honest. Because to me, there was nothing to work with. Those could be white feathers. And it did not do that last time. That's psychedelic, isn't it? But actually, it doesn't look bad here on the bird. I think I'd want to tone this down a bit. But you could do that because you've got these options to manually do it. So the first thing you could do is you could take the saturation down a bit. You definitely want to tone this down, but I didn't particularly want to tone the bottom down, but that's not actually bad. I thought it would be better if this across the head and down the top of the neck area matched this better in here. It could actually, couldn't it? In which case I could leave the head because they're pink. But let's do it right. I just think this is a little bit too much. It could be the lighting. I'm not sure. But it's a mean looking bird, isn't it? Mean bird. Right, so what I'd need to do is capture in here where I would want to tone down. So click in there. Now, at this point, I need to get the hex code of what I'm looking for. So I want to try and tone the right hand edge down more to match the left bit. So I've picked that up and I'm pasting it in there. That is not a Photoshop feature. Although you probably can pick up with the right tool and stuff, in this mode I don't think I can do that. So I always use the same way, and that way I don't have to think about it. So OK on that, and it will have a think about it, and hopefully tone this area here down a little. That's perfect. Now it looks like it matches. So I'd need to go just behind the eye there. I don't think... oh, actually, that colour looks perfect. So I've taken away the kind of psychedelic look that we had at the top. Now I've done that, I could probably up the saturation and it not look ridiculously silly. In fact, we might even be able to take it up a bit and find out if those feathers are pink. I think it could be a flamingo, you know. So there you go. So that one needed a little bit of help, but that was more to do with the lighting, I think. But I actually think that's done a really good job on that. I wouldn't have known what colours to start with. I really wouldn't. And you've toned down where it's got the lighting wrong. Right, so let's go down to here and make that a new layer and OK. We have, I think, 3 more birds. Right, Carol was an inspiration for me. That's because there was one of them and I thought that could be in Carol's garden. It was sat on a fence and I wondered how it would cope. You know, I thought, again, it was black. And I thought, there's nothing to get colour from, but it did a good job. So, well, let's close that one down. And which one's... There's an owl. The owl's the next one. There you go. I've just got to pick the right owl, because I did this about 20 times to try and get it right. Right, it's a black and white one. Where's the black and white one? There it is. Right, so this was my starting point. I'll be honest with you, I had no idea what to do with that either. But what I did was I looked at images of owls and I thought pretty much there's going to be some kind of brown that's going on in here. But I didn't want to do it manually. So let's see what it could do with its neural filters. And these are not easy images. This one's really dark. And I still think it did a pretty good job. And there's nothing to stop you if you want to spend another 2 hours tweaking it. It's just giving you a starting point. Not bad at the bottom. It even picked up green here, but where it got the blue from, I have no idea. So I need to go tweak. So I'm working on the principle that the colours that we have down here are about right for the rest of it. So I'm using Colour Slurp to pick up a colour, but I want a kind of mid-range one. I don't want it too dark or it will be too dark overall. So a kind of mid-range one. Then I need to look at the image and think, where do I need to place these pins? So definitely up here in the middle of its forehead there. Do birds have foreheads? They do now. Right, so I've got that on my clipboard. Paste it in. And it's going to have a think about it, and hopefully it's going to end up some kind of brown colour. Not actually quite brown enough, I don't think. Do we need to up that a bit? Maybe I've clicked on a dark part and it's trying its best to colour the dark areas. So I might need to move that into a lighter bit and get more impact from it. So hopefully, are you going to think about that? Or is that it? Okay, let me pick another colour from here. That is definitely more orange, isn't it? Let's go for that. And put another pin here. And this time, paste that in. That's better. Right. So what I'd now need to do is work around the image, particularly this blue bit here, and put in as many pins as I need, colour pins, but not too many. So that one's done right across the beak as well. I now need to think about this bit down here and this bit on the left-hand side. Now that, I think, is too yellowy. So with that one, I might need to tweak the colour a bit. So it's more brown, make it darker like that. So you just need to work through your image, clicking and doing what needs to be done with that. I would say that is far too yellowy in this one. So let me try moving that a bit first. It's picking that yellow up from somewhere. Where are you picking that yellow up from? Because I'm making you browner there. Not bad. I would probably take longer with that, but I'm not going to waste your time. You get the principle. Because the one thing that I wanted to do next with this particular one, let me see if I can move these around a bit and get it to do what I want. Not bad. But let me go browner. I'm not liking the yellow tone. But I'm going to have to leave it alone, or we're not going to get through all the birds, are we? That'll do. It's not as good as the one that I did when I had all day, but it's not bad. Right, so, in fact, I could take that out a bit, couldn't I? What if I had a bit more blue and take away some of the yellow? Can we lose the yellow? Oh, it's going. Not that I want the bluebird back. It'll do. Right, leave it alone. Because what I did with this one, when I went away and I checked some images of the bird, I realised that the eyes were a bit dull. So I did exactly the same as I did with the cat. So I added another layer and I changed its mode from normal to blend to colour. And then I needed some kind of eye colour. And the colour I went with was like an orangey, a deep orangey, yellowy kind of look. So let me click on that. Let me go and find it. I'll show you the one that I did and you can see that the colour was actually better. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and pick up the colour of the orange. So it's on the other screen at the moment. That'll do. Right, so in here I needed the brush tool again, and again I'm not going to take forever to do this, but making sure I'm on the layer that's set to the colour blend mode, I just drew in there, which would be grand, only it's drawing in green, isn't it? And that's not what I want. So let me undo that. What on earth are you doing? Oh, now it's really slowed down. And you're not letting me undo. Okay then. Come on, undo. Does not, it wants it to be green. it's drawing and I'm not clicking anything. Look, I'm not clicking. I'm not. What are you doing? See if I can get in here. I think I've upset Photoshop. Right, let me get rid of that. Delete the layer. Where you go? Oh, do you know what? If you won't do that, turn it off. Excellent. Right, let me just make a new layer. I have got the colour that I want on the clipboard, which is this orangey colour. So let's try again on that layer. And it's really struggling and I don't know why. It is pasting. There we go. It is pasting. And I know it's not looking right. It's not looking right because it's not the right mode at the moment, but it will. Okay, let's try. Oh, this is not going well because I've had to do it twice now. But if I just change that and alter the opacity, so down to my colour mode here. Oh, come on. I think I've killed it, Mike. Let's get that. Take it down a bit. Doesn't need taking down much. And we'll then zoom out. Or we'll try and zoom out. We'll see what mood it's in. There you go. So the one on the left looks much better than the one on the right. Obviously, I would then fix the one on the right. So still having that there, I can just draw that in. We have the owl. Now, the original, when I did this the first time, this is what it looked like. So I did take a little bit more time and you can see it was absolutely perfect. You could not see the join in the bird. So do you have owls, Carol? Let me know. Do you have owls?
The owls are not what they seem.
We are having a look at Photoshop. Yes, because I got a snotogram asking why I paid for it. This is the answer. So that's the owl when I took a little bit more time. But it's not bad. Considering the time I've had, it's not bad. Right, let's save that one. And I'm good job on closing these down because it's really struggling. And I literally said, didn't I, just before we started, Photoshop opened much faster than usual. And then it let me down. Right, so let's get in there on the night. Right. Okay, let's close that one down. I have two more birds left. Carol will know which birds. I'm not sure I do know which birds. Let's have a look. Oh, no, it's one bird. I've got one bird left, and this was the tricky one. With this one, I thought to myself, it's best in black and white, leave it alone, was what I thought. I didn't think you could actually improve that. Well, certainly not me. Because is it a black bird or a crow? Looks like a crow, a black crow. So what colour am I supposed to make that? You know, but trust the neural filter. So back up to the filters, and everything you've seen me do has just been colorising them. The neural filters do a lot more than that, but we're concentrating on colouring at the moment. So colorise it. How good can you get? And I thought, well, if it gets the green background, but apparently the bird was blue. So whether I thought it was a crow or not, that was what it managed. So I thought in the background, I loved the way it did the thing it stood on, some kind of half a fence. I liked the fact that it got like the blue on the bird. I don't know how accurate it is. Are crows blue, Carol, or should they be black? Let's have a look. Billy's big enough for a raven. Oh my, it could be a raven, couldn't it? I don't know whether the blue is right or not, but I loved it. I thought the blue looked great. But this at the back, whatever this is, I didn't think that matched with the rest of the green. So I clicked on that area. In fact, I think it's a little bit lower. And what I'm looking for at this stage is to find the green that looks good. And the green that looks good was kind of up in the corners here. So any of these would look reasonable. So once I've got that copied, go in there and paste it in and OK. I think I've made that a little bit too high. So I'll wait for it to finish and see how it looks. It's done that half of it. So if I move it down a little bit and over to the right, so I'm just moving the one that's there, that should fix the problem without me needing to add 2 colour pegs and then potentially overdoing it. So not bad. Let's move that way a bit. It's having a think. And there we go. So not bad. I might want to add another one, but I don't want to colour the bird. There we go. So that's dealt with it. So 2 of those and that's actually dealt with it. And I thought that one was amazing. So let me take that through. That's a new colour layer, and that way you can manipulate it in post-production or post your neural filters. So come out of there. Are you thinking about it? You are. And there we go. So I could do more with that. What I actually did with it was I totally turned that off. This is one reason to work with the colour that you've applied via the neural filter to do it in a layer of its own. Because I can turn it off. Layer, you'll see that's locked, so I'm not editing it. But if I add a new layer and I look at this here, and I have my repair tools in here. This one I do believe, my spot here. So if I go in there, I don't want to be that close, but I fixed some of these issues literally just by drawing over them. I fixed whatever's there. So I went really narrow with it and I just painted over the top of it like that and got rid of it. So I did that on a layer of its own. You're still drawing, aren't you? Because you're playing with my mind. Yeah, look, you're stuck. I'll just keep pressing escape until it stops. And eventually, hopefully, it will stop. Unless I whip out of here and click somewhere else. I should have made it to stop. There we go. Right, so I've done that. So in my layers, in here, let me zoom out again so we can see it. Can we do that? Oh, good. Right, we see it all. So you can see my repairs are on a completely separate layer. So those are my repairs on layer 2. And then I can turn the colour on over the top of it. And there we go. So that is one of the reasons I bother with Photoshop, because it can do that quickly. I am not saying I am a huge fan, because I think if you use Affinity Photo and you use Photoshop, it's very difficult to be at the same level of speed with both of them because the shortcuts are different. So speed-wise, I would be in Affinity Photo. But for something like this, once I know what the process is just do it and then take the photo out and take it somewhere else. Now, I know Creative Cloud is expensive, but Photoshop and Lightroom can be had for as little as £10 a month, which is only the price of, well, it's half a ChatGPT, isn't it? Mm. It's half a ChatGPT and it's twice what, well, no, it's the same price as a Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro subscription on iPad. So it just depends. I think the deal gives you Lightroom and Photoshop for £20 a month. A lot of people have taken because there now isn't much in the way of competition to Lightroom. We used to have Aperture, but we don't anymore. So it doesn't have to cost 60, 70, 80, 90 pounds a month, which, you know, businesses pay, because they're getting access to all of the apps. I think in my subscription, when I logged into Firefly last week, it's you have access to 300 apps. I thought, are you kidding me? Seriously, I'm sure that's what it said. Let's have a look. Firefly.Adobe, which does not have an N in it, .com. Let's have a look. Is that what it said to me? It's not giving me numbers now. Oh, that's unfortunate, isn't it? No, it's not giving me numbers now. Maybe it was on my account homepage or something. But I'm sure they're 300, and I thought, you've got to be joking me. There cannot be 300 apps in there. I would say maybe there's 30 or 40, but I didn't think there was anything like that number. I will check and we'll find out. It's loading in my account very slowly as we speak. But what I will do with that is I will save that while it's having a think about it. Does it say? No, it doesn't. It does say 20 plus creative apps. That's more likely. Oh, it says a crow. So I think it was a crow. I think Carol was right with that. As I expected, Carol. So we got any questions on any of that before we move on to you?
Only one about the price of Photoshop. Patient says, does Adobe even sell a lifetime license for Photoshop anymore?
No, it doesn't. No. But If you are in education, there's education pricing. So let me have a look at the education pricing. It's actually quite inexpensive for education because they like education. But you can get it on its own where you get one app. So let's go and get some pricing from Adobe. Creative Cloud pricing. Right, let's bring that on. Find the right plan for you. Get 50% off. That sounds grand. Let's do that. Right, it's loading in. Right, so you can get a photography bundle for £10 a month, and that gives you Lightroom and it gives you Photoshop. Why have you disappeared? Right, this one. All right, it gives you both. There is one that is double that, which is this one here with Photoshop. But that is where you get more storage. So this is your most cost-effective option, which is $9.98 a month, and I think dollar-wise it's pretty similar. Students and teachers can get it even cheaper. So you can actually have the entire Creative Cloud for £16.24 a month, which has got to be worth it. I'm sorry, but that has got to be worth that. That is pretty decent. That is much less than we're paying for ChatGPT. So if you are in education, that's great. That's a good deal. If you're not, then you wouldn't get all of the other apps. But I mean, the other apps are things like InDesign or Adobe Audition. So I think the two most important apps, if it's photography and design that you're working with, are Lightroom and Photoshop anyway. Now, there are different photography plans. So there are 2 photography plans at the least. So this is the difference. This first one gives you 20 gig of cloud storage. This second one gives you 1 terabyte of cloud storage plus Lightroom Classic. So Lightroom Classic is the one that you can actually install on your computer, whereas Lightroom uses storage in the cloud or something. I haven't used it in a long time, but that's the difference between it. So you get Lightroom Classic. So it's double if you want 1 terabyte of storage. But if you can get away with 20 gig, and I've no idea how much storage I've got, but I hardly use any. I don't open things from the Adobe Cloud. I don't bother. So those are your options price-wise. There you go. You see, Patience didn't realise it was that reasonable. I foresee a subscription on your horizon. You might as well. Oh, Deb says you have to look real hard, but there's a perpetual license, no upgrades or fixes. I didn't even know they did that one anymore. That must be against their faith, surely. But if it's there, it's about it. I guess it's as difficult as it doesn't mention there that you can have Bridge for free. But you can use Bridge for free, totally for free. They just don't make a song and dance about it. And when you download it, there's so many dialogues that are saying, are you sure you don't want to take the full thing? You're like, no, definitely not. But there you go. So, Patience, you need to have a look into that. Right, so let's go into here if we are done. Are we on to you?
We're on to me.
Yes.
Right.
Right. So I will make sure they can see your screen. No messy desktop, I see.
And tell me when I can start.
You can get going. Right,
okay. For the last 2 or 3 weeks, I did a dashboard, and it was a fairly complicated dashboard. So I thought I would take it back a little bit, do another dashboard, but make it a little bit simpler. And it's going to be a bit different as well, because what I always say about dashboards is they're very personal. It's not like create one dashboard and that's it. So this is just another example. And this dashboard is going to be nothing to do with football. It's going to be to do with accidents. So do you remember years? Well, actually,
is that like you're going home in an ambulance?
Yeah, you wouldn't remember years ago because you were never employed for long enough to have an accident.
No, I wasn't actually.
No, accident books at work where you had to record if you had an accident. Well, this is the digital version. So instead of loading the data in from somewhere else like I did with the Premier League one, the company actually keep a record of accidents in an Excel file. So this happens to be April's accidents. Over here, I've got some formulas which I will explain shortly. So this is all the preparation work, and this is the completed version of the accident dashboard. So it does look a bit different to the one that I did last week. So what I've done is I've first of all worked out exactly what I want to show on the dashboard, and then I've built some formulas which will then be translated into these boxes here and various other things. What I've got is I've got this dashboard demo sheet which is totally blank, and this is where I'm going to build up the dashboard, but I thought I'd show you a completed version. So for example, we know that we want to display the number of reported accidents, so I've put that in as a heading. I've typed in a formula which counts the number of rows in the table. So this is a table which I've named TBL accidents. So that formula there is just counting the number of rows, and that way as we add more accidents, that number will increase. And on the actual dashboard, this is where I think ahead of about what you want. On the actual dashboard, I've got this text box which is showing number of reported accidents, then on a new line 43. So to get that, what I've done is created a formula which takes what's in L1, combines it to a line break character which is CHAR10, and combines that with J1. So that's what we get there, and that is going to be the first text box. I've done a rinse and repeat here, so that's the target number of accidents, and the company have said 50. You're never going to get away with no accidents, so 50 I think is reasonable for the month. And then I've done a similar formula to combine those together, split over 2 lines. We also want to record the number of severity 1 accidents. So these are major accidents as opposed to a cut finger, which I happen to have, and I have no idea how I did it, and I didn't record it in the accident book either. So we're talking about electric shocks from faulty equipment and chemical spills causing eye irritation. They're the more serious ones, although the electric shock is only a number 1. Oh, actually, is number 1? I can't remember if number 1. No, number 1 is a non-serious accident. Well, I think electric shock should be a serious accident. So there we go.
Used as training in some companies.
Yeah. So yeah, what I've done there is I've done a count if formula to count the number of severity 1s, and then we've got the time away from work accidents, and that actually accounts for what just over 50%. So that's not good, because that means that it's having an impact on the business. Down here I've got less than 50 accidents with a tick. So yes, there's been less than 50 accidents, and severity 1 is less than 5% of the total, and no, it's not. So just to add a little bit of graphics, rather than it all being kind of text-based, I've got a tick and a cross for yes and no. And I've done that by having a tick and a cross, and then less than 50 accidents, and an if function that puts a tick and otherwise puts a cross. And the same thing with that one. And then combine the two together. So that's the kind of prep side of things. Just getting everything ready, working out what you want, and then generating the formulas to actually get the text ready. I'm just seeing if there's any questions. They need a new health and safety manager. They certainly do, Richard. Okay, so I'm going to have a look at building the dashboard. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to Insert, go to Shapes, and pick this rectangle here. Draw the rectangle out, and I can make it as big or as small as I want to. I'll make it that size. Double click into the rectangle and type accidents dashboard. This is going to be my title, and then make this fairly big text. So probably make it about 66, maybe a little bit smaller. Also make it centered, And if I want to change the color of the background, I can go and do that from here. So let's make this more of a blue. In fact, that's the same blue, so let's just make it a little bit lighter. There we go. I'll make the text a little bit darker, I think. There we go. I could also put some kind of effect on that, make it stand out, give it a 3D effect by going to shape format and shape effects, and maybe give it a bevel, so something like that. Then to get these shapes, and I'm not going to create all of them because, you know, show you one, it's just a rinse and repeat, so I'll just do a couple. It's going to be very similar. So I will go to insert, I will go to shapes, and I'll just use this plain rectangle here and draw out a shape. Again, you can size it again later or get it to the right size now. Set the color. I can choose one of these predefined colors or just shape fill. So let's make that one red. And to get the formula in, I'm not going to type directly into the cell. What I'm going to do is click in the formula bar up here and put equals, go to the raw data and click on L1. So it's picking up what's in L1 and that will go into that text box there. Let's make the text white. Why isn't that taken? There we go. Make it centered vertically and horizontally, make it bold, and make it bigger. And if I want to make it really big, then I'll have to increase the size of the text box. And if I also want to add some kind of 3D effect, I can do that as I just did with shape format, shape effect, and maybe give it a bevel or something like that. Next thing I'll do is make a copy of this rather than doing it from scratch. Copy and paste, position it where I want it, and then just go and change what cell it's referencing. So if that's going to be the target number, do I actually want to show? No, I don't actually want to show the target number of accidents. That was just needed to do some other calculation. I want to show the number of severity 1 accidents, which is L3. So I will just go and change the formula of the selected text box to L3 on the raw data sheet. And oh, my machine's locked up. I'm having your problem.
Oh, mine's dead on its feet.
There we go. There we go. The only problem is it loses the formatting, but if I click on the first text box, click on the format painter and click on this text box, it then copies the formatting from there to there. I'll create one more text box, just put it down here, and for this one I want to show the number of time away from work accidents. So this one is going to pick up the value from L4. So let's change that to L4. And again, if I just copy the formatting with the format painter and paste it onto, and I'll have to make this a little bit taller as well. The problem I've got now is that it's not it's not got the same distance between the buttons or the boxes. I could manually get the distance, but I can also select all three of these text boxes. Just click the first one, hold the shift key down, click the next one, keeping the shift key down, click the next one, and go to shape format, align, distribute vertically, and that just makes sure that we have the same distance between them. So the idea is that if the data gets updated, then these will automatically update and these will automatically update as well. So it's a self-updating dashboard. It's a no maintenance dashboard, and you know, that's really what you want. So what else have I got? Well, I've got on here a couple of pivot tables and a couple of charts. So I'll just create those. I'm not going to create both, I'll just create one. So if I go back to the dashboard, I want to create a pivot table and I need to start in the raw data. So I go to Insert Pivot Table and I want to put the pivot table to the dashboard demo sheet. Tell it where I want the pivot table to go. And what I'm going to do here is drag in severity into rows, and that will give me the 5 severities. And because I want to do a count, I can drag any column into the values box. So let's just take description, and that's given me a breakdown. I would format that as well. So let's make the font bigger on that so that people can actually read it. Make the columns wider. Change the headings, so that can be severity and that can be number or count. And then if I want to do a chart from this, I just go and click on Insert and choose the type of chart I want. And now I've got a little chart. And then finally, I'm going to show you how I got this over here. This was really just a space filler, but it's a nice little effect. So it's actually it's one of the built-in icons. So I clicked on Insert Icons, and I think I might have searched for accident. Let's see what it comes up. Oh, it wasn't accident, no. What did I search for? Bandage? I can't remember. Injury? Yeah, there it is. Search for injury. So I'll select that one and insert it. Make it bigger. I also wanted to make that red, so I can do that with graphics format and graphics fill. But you'll notice on the completed one I had a background. And the problem is I couldn't just set a background on this. So I'm having to insert a shape. Oh, my machine's frozen up again. So count to 10. There we go. We're back. So insert shape. Draw a rectangle. Send the rectangle to the back. Change the colour to yellow, and there we go. And group those two together. So select those two and group those together, and that way I can just move them around separately. So there is the beginning of the accidents dashboard. I'm not going to go through and create the second pivot table and chart because it's just a rinse and repeat on the first one. But what I wanted to show you there was that dashboards can be complex. They can be pulling data in from live databases or live websites, as I did for the last couple of weeks, but you can also create them relatively simply. It all depends on what you want to show. Don't overcomplicate it, because at the end of the day somebody needs to use the dashboard. You're not just creating it for a bit of fun to say, aren't I good at Excel? You're creating it because people actually need to use the dashboard, and simplicity is the key. Just give them what they need to see and don't cram it full of useless figures and facts. Okay, so what have we got? Kim likes the formatting painter. Yeah, the formatting painter has been around for years and years and years in Excel. In fact, it's in all the Office products. But it's a lot of people use it just to copy the formatting from a cell to another cell. But you can use it just as I've done to copy the formatting from one shape to another. Okay, do we have any questions on that? Doesn't look like we do, so I will hand back to you.
Okay, my machine's very poorly. Very poorly. But hopefully, I've shut Photoshop down, so we can't blame that. It just goes like this, but fingers crossed. Right, Obsidian. I was going to show Hover Edit, but I need to show something else first, because it's been an update. So literally, while we've been speaking, they've updated it. It's a birthday gift for me. Is like how I like to look at it. Right. So before we see the hover toy, we will see new toys. So it's 1.3.2. I don't know if this is available to everybody or if it's because I'm on the insider track. But you may remember, I've gone on about it enough, that I don't put graphics in my vault. I refer to them from Zeit, which is Cloud App, as was. But putting in links to Twitter or YouTube is meaning you have to click on them. They've just changed it. Look at the shiny new things on the right. It says YouTube and Twitter links can now be embedded within your notes using the Markdown image embed syntax. So the syntax is exclamation mark at the beginning, or a bang, if that's what you call it, square brackets, and you can put something in the square brackets to identify what it is, but that's optional. The only other bit you need is the actual link, and that's in round brackets at the end. So that looks like this. A bang at the beginning, a square bracket, round bracket, and a link in there. So I do believe I have a link on the clipboard to last week's show. And look what happens. It embeds it. Oh, that's a good birthday present, isn't it? I'm liking that. Ah, that's a life changer as far as I'm concerned. And of course, according to that, it does the same with Twitter, but you know, who cares? Who wants to put Twitter content in there anyway? But if you do, you can. So that's a huge thing. And as far as I'm concerned, if you look at the syntax of that, it means you don't even have to type it if you followed my instructions, which were, I just put that in. I then have a text expansion that takes whatever on the clipboard, which was automatically placed there with the images, and does the syntax, so I don't have to think about it. Oh, Carol, just think about the opportunities for embedding the replays. Oh, I'm far too excited for a woman of my age. Right, so how I did that is I have something in Typinator, URL. And as soon as I do that, it deals with it. It even moves the cursor back to where I could type in what it is. So after hours 194. You can see it's typing in episodes, but there you go. Oh, I am liking that. That's fabulous. Right, so let's get rid of that. Now we've had a look at that. That's very, very simple, but it is useful. Should you take the time and fill in the between the square brackets? I sometimes do and sometimes I don't. Most of the time I do, I'll be honest. But having the ability to edit, well, to play the YouTube video in there is just a life. That's life-changing as far as I'm concerned. So that literally has just been released. You can see 19th of May. So I rebooted before we started. That did me a lot of good, didn't it, Mike? And it wasn't there, and I just rebooted. Well, I didn't reboot. I restarted Obsidian, and it's there. So, new toy, as far as I'm concerned. Love that. Right, what I was intending to show you, so let's get a new page here. Right, we'll close that one, and we will have the untitled one. I was going to show you, this was something that I first saw. Oh, we don't need that either, do we? So we can just have a new page. See what I mean about things running slow? Very slow. But we're getting there. Right, don't need you, but we'll have you. Right, so before I started using Obsidian, I was in Rome, and I saw this feature in Obsidian, and I thought, is that available in Rome? And then I saw somebody do the same thing. So I remember asking this Rome guy, and he said, oh yes, but you need plugins, extensions, and all kinds of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an index for some content. So this is my test database. I would love it if I was typing and it was doing things. Right, this is my test database. So I would probably create either an index, or maybe I would call it an MOC, of, I think this is the lean writing method, right, which is something from Ship 30. So I have here 4 lessons. There's actually 5. I just haven't transferred the last one yet. But what I will do is we will have that, and I will show you what is in these things. So each of these are pages of their own. Come on. Right. So at the top of it, I've got some metadata of where it came from, what the date was. And as I scroll, there's lots of information in there. Right. And it's split up into lessons. So that is lesson 1. And I have a lesson 2. I do not know why that is going down the bottom. It should be at the top, but never mind. So there's 4 lessons. Each one of them has this graphic at the top and then the actual content of it, so I can go in there and copy what I need. What I would do for something like that is to create an MOC, a map of content. So that is easily enough done. I would just go in here, put the square brackets in, and I can see them at the top called lesson 1. Is that the right one? Yes, it is. And I would just go through and make the list. I could drag and drop them. I'm choosing not to drag and drop them at the moment purely because the machine is about to die on it. So I will put them in manually, but you that way you get to see how it's all done anyway. So lesson 4. Right, so this is going to be my MOC. And I may put extra information in here or whatever, but I have those 4 lessons. Right, you have the ability inside Obsidian to view the content of those lessons without actually opening the files. So obviously we have lesson 2 open on the right, but you don't actually need to do that if you're thinking, which was that one? So if I go to there and I hover over it, you can see I get the hand, which means I can click it to see it. But if I hold down the command key with that hand where it is, you will see I get a preview. And what I'm getting a preview of is the contents of that page. And I can scroll and I can see the whole thing. That was the feature that I wanted in Rome, and it was really tricky. But in here, it's really easy. I'll admit, I did not find that limiting. Sometimes I just want to see the date that something was, or which presenter it was, or whatever. Exactly the same there. So I'm hovering over lesson 2, and what I'm seeing in this popover is exactly what I've got on the right hand side, because that is lesson 2 open in its own window. Other people found this quite limiting because they wanted to do one thing with this. They wanted to be able to get this hover over and edit it, and you can't. It's not editable. It is just a window that you can look at it. If you want to go and edit it, you can, but you would need to open it in its own window to be able to edit it. That is what you have built in. There is a community extension that will enable you to do exactly that and edit it as well. So if we go into our community plugins and we go into browse, there we go, and it's called Hover Edit. So as I start typing, there you go, Hover Editor. So click on that to install it. There is information here about how it works, etc., but I'm going to install it. Are you oh, you are actually installing. Excellent. Right, so it's installed it. I then need to enable it. So I'll enable it from there. I can get to the options from here, or I can go back. So if we come out of there, I did click that. Right, I can get to the preferences either from in here with the cog, or I can find Hover Editor in the list and just click on the list under Community Plugins. Right, having clicked it, there we go. So it has a default mode, which is reading mode. You could have that as editing view, or you could match the current view or whatever. So I think we might need that in edit view if we're going to edit it. Right, you can auto pin it. This is saying on drag or resize, or whether you always want to do that. So this determines how this looks when you actually hover. So trigger hover previews on embed. So if you've embedded anything in there, images and block references, you can see those. Whether it auto focuses the editor. So when you hover, which node do you want focused? The one in the editor that's hovering, or the one behind it that spawned the editor? So for this one, it's saying set the hover editor as the active pane when it's opened, which if you're not looking at the screen and you inadvertently do this, you'll be editing the wrong page. But as long as you're watching what you're doing, it's fine. All of these are off by default, so whether you want it to snap to the edge or whether you want to see the view header by default, all of these options. But there is a click to zoom image, and that's turned on. Now, the next 4 are something that you don't toggle on and off, you need to specify something. So the top 2 are the popover's width and height. So 400 by 340. I think I made it a little bit bigger. Then you've got the hover trigger delay. Now, technically, you should need to hold the command key down, but sometimes you've got the command key down doing something else and the mouse just happens to be hovering over something. You might want to increase the delay. I think I've increased the hover delay to 600 from 300, but we will leave everything set as the default in here while we have a look at it. So we've got it installed. Now if I hover over these, so it's thinking about it, you can see you get something different. The top of this is purple because my accent colour is purple. If your accent colour is different, it will be your accent colour. It shows you the title and it gives you options in here. You can take this down to the bottom, you can focus it, you can close it. You also have the actual content. The difference this time is that this content is editable. So if I wanted to go in here and type something, I could. So it isn't going to look great in there, but we'll do that. And I've added that into, oh, what have I done here? Hang on. That's what I need to do. So my hello world is up here and I've got the rest of the content. So if I just wanted to quickly look at this and think, no, I need to change something, then I can easily edit it in here. That's the very that it can do. Right, let's get rid of the hello world before I forget, because this is actually, although it's in my demo file, it's actually real data. I'm intending on moving this. This is real. Right, so that's the first thing you can do. So instead of using the built-in option where it's not editable, now you've got a popover with the content that is under the mouse pointer and it's activated with the command key, but it's editable. That's the first thing. But the other thing that you can do with it is you have an option. I have clicked that. There you go. So the pin moves. And then what I can do is move this and leave that pinned open. So for reference purposes, it's perfect. If I'm working on lesson 3, but I need to see something at the beginning of lesson 4, then I can show that in this small popover window without having to dedicate another window to it. I can in here size this if it's just not the right size. I can do that so I can see just what I need. So it's an option rather than opening another window, either sliding across like my windows do, or I could, let's open 3. We haven't got 3 open, so I'm opening 3. I don't want it like that. Oh, it's going crackers. Right, let's open that. That's what I want. It's opening it in a separate panel, or it will do eventually. There we go. There's lesson 3. Now, what I can do with this is instead of having it where all the panels float over each other, I don't mind that. Your mileage may vary. I know I've got 2 of them. That's interesting, isn't it? I don't know why you've changed. You were on something else. Right, but what I can do with this is grab the icon and I can put this where. So you can make the window look anything like you want. So with this one, I can take that down and get it just the right spot. I think I need a new Mac mic. Oh, handy, it's my birthday. Right, let's move that. So you can set the windows however you want, but this is taking screen real estate away from the pages that you've actually got open. So having this open in a popover is a really cool idea. The with it when you first install it is remembering it's there and actually using it. But I find that incredibly useful. You can have multiple windows in Obsidian now, but I sometimes take this off. Are you going to go over the other screen? Or are you not doing that? No, it's not going over the other screen. I thought it did. I'm sure I'd done that. I must have done it a different way. Okay, so it's not going to go on a different screen, but you get the idea. And you can have multiple ones of these while you're working. So that is the hover editor. So the difference with it is that one, you can edit it, and two, the hover can be persistent, which the standard one cannot. There are various things that you can do. I don't think I've put any in here. No, I haven't. But you could, we've looked at transclusion. So let's say in my lessons here that I want to be able to get from lesson 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and from 4 to 1 if that's what I want. I've got meta at the top of it, and I've got my branding at the top of it. But if I put in here an exclamation mark, and I follow that with my MOC, which is the lean writing method, I can transclude that in there. That would be a good way to work. And the benefit of this is, as and when I come into the actual MOC itself, and I add in lesson 5, which I don't have the contents of yet, but that doesn't stop me putting a placeholder in there, lesson 5, it updates instantly with what's in here. If I want to make changes in here, now you can see that's popping up again. A little bit too fast, that's why I slowed it down. But what I've got in there when it finally disappears, so let's get rid of that. Away you toddle. It really is struggling. Right. What I've got in here, I can't edit. I would need to click this to edit it. So that's the difference between the two. If it's transcluded, I need to click that to go in to edit it. But with the popover, I can leave that open. So if I was making many, many changes to this as I'm working, instead of taking time and using this and having it open in that window, as you can see, I could leave that open in a popover. And that would give me the best of both worlds. So do we have any questions on that?
Yes. Carol says, can you remind how to do a transclusion?
Just did. Do you need to see it again? Right, a transclusion is the syntax of it. And you can do this a couple of ways. So let me, I'm going to transclude to this one, but I will put in embedding. So come on. Right, we'll just call that extra notes. And then under here, I will put note 1 and note 2. Oh, it's picked something up, Smart Notes. Very cool. Very cool. I didn't even look. Right, let's do that again down there. And we'll have something else. Let's put the new toys one in there. So all I'm doing is putting in a couple of links. The reason that I'm putting in a couple of links is to show you the transclusion. So a simple transclusion like this one is the matter. Your transclusion always starts with the exclamation mark. So down one, exclamation mark, and then I put the double square brackets to refer to a page. I want the in writing method in there, just do that and I get it in there. You can see it's bringing in everything, and I've got it in twice because I've done it twice. Right, but you can be more granular than that if you want. So let's take that away and we'll do it again. And you can see, because I'm using shortcut keys, this is popping up. That's why I made it need longer before it pops up, because it was driving me insane. Right, I'll let it back in there. We will lose that one. Right, and we'll lose that one as well. So I'll start again from scratch. I'm going to do exactly the same, but this time in here I am going to put, we will have an index to the content. So we've got extra notes at the bottom. What we don't have is we've not called the lesson plan at the top anything. So if I come down here and get rid of that and put in a heading, which is lean writing content, let's say the lean writing series, like that. Right, I've now got 2 heading 1s in there. If I transclude it, I get everything. But you can be quite granular with your transclusion. So exclamation mark, double brackets, give it the name of the page, which in this case starts with MOC. So MOC is at the top, it was at the top, there we go. That puts the lot in. But if I back inside the brackets and I put a hash sign in, it is going to filter for all the headings in that page. So I could include the top one to include the lessons, the Lean Writing series, but notice the extra notes, not there. But if I go back into here and instead of choosing that heading, I choose the extra notes heading, then the Lean Writing series isn't there, but the extra notes is. So that is how you are more granular in your transclusions. So does that answer that question? Have we got anything else?
No.
Oh, Carol's going to use this a lot. Good. Kim says she's got a super beginning Obsidian question at the end of the demo. Right, well, we haven't got any other questions, so away you go. Away you go, Kim. Give me that question. And I will leave that there in case I need to demonstrate with whatever the answer is. No such thing as a super beginning question, because it's easy to forget stuff. You know, there may be, you may have a project and you're transcluding with the best. And then you don't transclude for 3 weeks and you've totally forgotten how. No such thing. Good. Glad that worked for you, Carol. So just waiting for Kim's question and we're good to go. Then I need my lights on, don't I, and a camera. Mm-hmm. This is going to be fun. Any other questions I'll take as well? Right, I'm wondering what this question is. Oh, excitement. Thank you for that. Happy birthday wishes. Oh,
nearly over.
I'm excited. I know, but I've got to get my unboxing in, haven't I? Got to get my unboxing in before Mike takes it off me. I've not even seen the box yet.
It's there.
Oh, right. Okay. That's quite a big box. Just saying. Right, let me get my lights on while I'm waiting. And, oh, hang on. There it is. There comes the question. How do you make more than one panel? I try to make another and it keeps getting a link instead. Okay, so where are you, when you say make another panel, are you doing it by taking a link from somewhere? Are you in the file manager? Because how I would do it here, if I have one page open, so I'm closing that page and that page. So I'm working on this particular page here. You've got a few options when it comes to creating another one. If I want this Lean Writing MOC open to the left and I want lesson 1 open to the right, then I can hold the command key down and click that. That gives me 2 panels, but these panels are in the same space. By which I mean, if I were to open the others, 2 and 3 and 4, this will probably kill it, you can see these panels float over one another. So they're not particularly in another space, they're in the same space. There are exceptions to that, and one exception is if you have the calendar up. So calendars coming. See, it's not a simple question, is it? Because the answer's quite complicated. Right, come on. I'm trying to get the calendar up. And the poor thing is dying on its feet. Oh, you do want to expand and stay expanded. Come on, come to mummy. It's my birthday, don't upset me. Right, thank you. Okay, so in here, if I was looking for the date, the 20th, and I hold the command key down and I click the 20th, I now have 2 distinct spaces. It's easy to spot the difference between them because these spaces have the titles running down the side. By default, tabs open at the top. So by going through the calendar, it's opened it in a separate space. If you want another tab in there, then you can Command and T, and that will generate you a new tab. If I wanted this one at the bottom of the window, so I want to create another self-contained area, then I pick the tab up and I drag it to wherever I want it. So if I want that at the bottom, I now have 3 spaces. I've got the space on the left with all the floating panels. I've got the one here with the tab in it, and I've got another one underneath with the tab in it. So that's the easiest way to do it. Now, if you have in here, so this is easy to grab a tab and drag it because it's huge. If your panels are like floating panels like mine, which I much prefer, and I have a shortcut key to toggle that on, I do that, or I think I do. I do in my own vault. There we go. So it's moved the tab from the top to the side. At that point, you've got no tab to grab, but you do have the proxy icon. And when you hover over the icon, it changes to a hand. So if I wanted to take that and put that, let's say I want another one over here, as I'm dragging this, and you can see it has actually turned into a page. So I'm having trouble with this at the moment. Let me try and put it at the bottom. Right, so you just drag it to approximately where you want it. So now this one is in 2 halves and this one is separate. And that was done with the proxy icon. So I took it from here. When it lands in here, it's back to the tab, which is why I have a shortcut key, because I much prefer these at the side. I do not like tabs across the top. You know me, I like my tabs at the side. So does that help? I think what must be happening is if I took a link, so if I took this proxy icon and I dropped it in here, I would, no, even that's working. That is actually working. If you're getting a link in the text, you're probably dragging it from somewhere and not placing it, you're placing it in the note. But, you know, I just hovered over that note and that worked as well. It could be maybe you're dragging it from over here. So if you dragged that and you hovered over here, you would get a link. Possibly better for you, hang on, I'm trying to get rid of that one, right, is if you're in here and you want this in a different area, if you do this and you say open to the right, does that give you a new area? It does, it opens it up there. So maybe do that instead. Okay, looks like that answered the question. Excellent. Right, I'm going to close this to get even more hairy scary, because I'm going to need to record this thing, aren't I? How did we have this configured before we started, Mike? Because it was pointing at just about the right thing, I think. Let's have a look at that. How does that look? Oh, that's not bad. Right, but I can get you to see it. That's easy. But I'd need it recorded, wouldn't I? Which is not quite so easy. Right, so what we'll do is I'll switch to that at the moment. I'll do a bit of magic. You find the box. I'll turn the lights on and then we can get going with this unboxing. I wonder what it is. Do you remember when you tried to put Mayor in a box to give him to me?
Yeah. Didn't quite work.
No, it didn't. He ate it. He ripped the box to shreds. But, you know, you've only got yourself to blame. Oh, how old was he then? About
10 weeks.
No, about 9 weeks, wasn't he? 2 months and a week it would have been.
Yeah.
Right. I need to do this. This is not going to end well, trust me.
She's nearly 8.
She's nearly 8.
More mature.
You reckon?
No.
She's a lady who knows what she wants. What happened this morning when she was demanding to go outside?
Got to the doorstep, took one look at the rain and turned round.
That's my girl. That's my girl. Right, so I need to record something in here to make this work, and then we can have a look. We've not had an unboxing in a while, have we? Right, built-in. No, I don't want you to record the built-in and display. Not at all. Record the camera. Let's see if you can manage that. Can you manage that? Fingers. No, it's picked the wrong camera. No point recording that one, is there? Oh, talk amongst yourselves. I'll try and sort this mess out. This machine, honestly, Mike. And do you know, it was fine all night until you started.
And then I started.
Well, as I handed over to you, it had started to get slower.
Oh.
Like, it wasn't your fault. It just started to get slower.
I just sacrificed my Excel bit.
No, it's fine. We can't do that. Right. Oh, what's it doing? It's not even telling me it's recording. So if you can actually close, then you weren't recording, were you? You were lying to me. Bad words are about to be said. You may actually hear bad words. Right.
Well, keep them clean.
I know, we're live. Keep it quiet. Oh, come on. No, the machine really is struggling. Did I put the fan on it? Think that would make a difference?
Couldn't do any harm.
Well, that's true, actually. It couldn't, could it? Might not hear me anymore, but, you know, machine might be all right. I swear that should have worked and it didn't. It said it was recording and it let me just close it. Right. Not that. That would do nobody any good. That was the one I clicked. Right. Should we try that? Now, look. Am I pressing that button? It says, oh, you are kidding me. There's a recording in process. How can there be? You crashed. Oh, this is fun, isn't it? This is great fun. How on earth are you supposed to stop a recording?
Control delete. Peter says I can't not do my Excel session.
See?
I'll put that stuff in Slack for you, Peter.
Oh, this just is not
formulas.
working. This is just not working. ScreenFlow, you are useless. Oh, hang on. God, look at it. See how slow it is? I know you guys can't see it, but Mike can. Mike will be hearing bad words shortly. I also can't get into
Should I call your phone?
because I can't broadcast your phone.
Oh, yeah,
Not without doing work. Ready to go. It's just ScreenFlow is having a moment. Oh, come on. At least let me press stop. Right. 2 minutes 30 apparently. Could it let me close the app and carry on recording? I mean, that's just nonsensical. You really are very close to hearing bad words here. Right, let's slow you down. Don't need you. Just let me press record and then get on with it. Got a gift here. Don't save. Go on. Right, I'm ready to press record. I can't guarantee it'll work. No. It's recording. Okay, that means I can switch you to this with all my water. Be able to see all my water. Oh, recording error. Can't record. Do you know what? I'm just going to rely on YouTube and be done with it. Unless I could record. No, don't do that. It'll break. Right, let's do that. There's my water. There we go. Right, so I'll put that over there near the dog. Yeah, there's a bloke as well, but the dog. Right.
Should we just check? Can't see anything yet.
Okay. Need to get that off really.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. It's all there. My water and my cards. And I need to get this off. Here is said brown box. So I need to get that off. So let me get my scissors because it is all sellotape on this. Right, let's get it off there like that. Right, I'm in at that end, I think. Okay.
Other brands are available, says Richard.
Other brands of what?
Sellotape, I guess.
Oh, hang on. Oh, this is very well sellotaped. Right, I think I'm in. Right. Oh, brown paper. Lots of it. What does the note say? The notes is saying what's in it. Let me have a look. Lavender and lilac and rosemary plant. Oh, let's have a look then. Here we go. Oh, have I got to keep these alive? Are they alive already? Do I have to keep them alive? Most of that isn't in the pot. Most of that one isn't in the pot, but I will get it in the pot.
We'll repot it.
It needs repotting.
Yeah.
That's a job for Mike. So, are you going to tell me who it's from now?
It's from Tracy.
Oh, Tracy, thank you. Right, so I don't know. Can I smell it? Oh, yeah, that's got a real pungent smell to it. I think is that the rosemary one?
Yeah.
I think that's rosemary, that one. Let's have a smell of this one. So's that. I'd say it needs to be the surrogate owner of these things, don't you think? Yeah. So there we go. That's our first unboxing in ages. Now, I would take it out the bag, but as I said, all the soil's come out and it'd be all over my desk. But that one's there. So is there any instructions on how I'm supposed to look after these? Oh, there's not. Oh, no. Tracy, send instructions. I'm not good with anything that's alive, apart from dogs. I can keep a dog alive. Do you remember when we were joking with Nina and Mike their son was going on holiday and he was dropping the 3 kids with them and the dog with us. And I said, make sure he doesn't make a mistake. It won't end well. So no, we didn't want the kids to keep it away from Lola. It should be eating it. So yeah, I will do that. I will do that. Thank you.
Deb says keep the soil in the pot.
Well, the soil's not in the pot to start with, but it will be when I've finished.
Tracy wants me to read her birthday message.
Right, okay,
So
where you go.
Let me go and find it. She sent it me in WhatsApp. She says, Elaine, my birthday present to you is the gift of butterflies. Many, many butterflies. At least that's I can enjoy the show. My present also brings bees, honeybees, bumblebees, digger bees, also necessary for our environment as pollinators. If you're afraid Lola might be stung, choose a spot to which she has a little uncontrolled access. A very big hug, Tracy.
The biggest place Lola has limited access is the bathroom. She doesn't like the bath.
No. No, but they're outside toys.
They're outside toys, right? Yeah. Okay, we'll have to find somewhere to plant them. Do they have to be planted in soil, or can we plant them in a trough and move them? There's an idea. That way it can follow the sun around. Because although it's Manchester, we're actually getting a bit of sun at the moment, aren't we? Yes. Yeah. Excellent.
We'll give you regular updates, Tracy, about how it's going.
I'm not telling Tracy if they die. If I manage to kill them. See, my best plants... you can't see the plant. That's probably a better idea as far as I'm concerned. Right, pass that round to me. Okay, this is what I got. Kim loved these. This was what I got. And I do you know, it's still alive. That's because it's plastic. In fact, it's got a bit of dust on it as well. But, you know, you see, you can just dust them. And off they go. So I've kept this one alive for months, haven't I? I don't rate my chances with something alive. She says they're
supposed to arrive on Monday, but Royal Mail sort of.
Oh, Royal Mail! Don't. I've just ordered another book, you know, a Dead Tree book. I had to. It was 1985 this thing was written, so it was pre-Kindle, and I can't find it on Kindle. So I ordered the Dead Tree version, and Royal Mail have got it, which means I may never see it. But apparently it's on its way. Oh, something that I haven't told Mike. But while I was looking for these books, I saw another book, and this book was on offer, and it was a book by an author called Claire Chambers. Do you remember Claire Chambers?
No.
We met Claire Chambers back in '93 when we went to the Waterstones event with David Lodge. And it was her first book that she'd written. And it was called Uncertain Terms. So she'd literally just finished university at Oxford. And she'd written this novel. And she was coattailing David Lodge at this event. Anyway, I bought this book from her, from the Waterstones on the night, and I got her to sign it. So I've got a signed first edition hardback copy of this book. I seize it on Amazon. £279.
Oh, that's like that.
I think it's probably on the shelf in the back room. You know, with all the VHS tapes. It's probably on there somewhere. Because I fancied reading it again. But obviously I couldn't get a Kindle version. But, you know, who owns the rights to that? Because if you started selling it, you'd probably make a fortune. But there you go. So thank you very much for that, Tracy. And we've had another unboxing. This one is going to be kept alive. Trust me, that one's keep aliveable. And Mike's going to help me with these, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes. That would be a far better idea. So thank you very much for that. You did amazing getting anything here at any point. Thank you. Right, we need to head off into there now, don't we? So we need to do that. Right, and then machines. Well, I won't say it's improved. It's not as bad as it was. Let's put it like that. Right. I shouldn't have spoken. I've done it again. I've spoken too soon. Right, you're going to transfer that. You're going to think about it. You'll think about it. Excellent. Right. So, what have we got coming up? We have another show next week. It won't be my birthday, but I've enjoyed myself. Thank you for sharing it with me. Hang on. I've now got the slide. Look at this. The slides are marked. Look at them. They're going forwards and backward across the screen, making it like whack-a-mole, trying to touch them. Right, I won't do that. I'll use the keyboard, and that'll be the end of that. So we'll be back same time, same place next week. And you're going the wrong way. We're going this way. Right, on demand. Oh, we've got everything on YouTube at youtube.com/Elaine Giles. We also have a dedicated MacBites After Hours playlist, and I make sure that the latest show is added as soon as we've finished. You will find that at macbites.co.uk/afterhours playlist. And of course, we love you guys. Thank you very much for sharing my birthday with me. I have very much enjoyed it. I hope you have too. Neural filters and pretty birds, Carol. Pretty birds. There is a like button down there. Make my day and give me a like for my birthday. You could also subscribe, and that way you would not miss anything that we've got in the future. There is also my mailing list. Are you going to move for that? You are, aren't you, eventually? There we go. And that is elainegiles.com/VIP. Now, Carol knows, because we're shall I say suffering, Carol? We're suffering this thing in Ship 30, that there might actually be quite a bit of content on the way, because I've not done all this to just keep it in Notion. So make sure you're subscribed. And then, of course, there is the MacBites mail, macbites.co.uk/macbites-mail. Given that it is the 19th, 20th of May, we are not far off WWDC. You will not want to miss the WWDC coverage that we have. It will be live on MacBites FM, obviously, as usual. Always a complete blast. There will be bingo cards. Trust me, there will be bingo cards. You will not want to miss it. So all the news about that will come out on that list. And then, of course, there's Slack, where we carry on the conversation. If you want to join us and are not already a member, you need to go to macbites.co.uk/join Slack. If you are already a member, fast track to get logged in, macbites.co.uk/Slack. And with that, we are done. So I'm going to make it that I can see the chat. Excellent. Now I can see the chat and see what you are all saying. Right. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to use the iPad. So I'll lose that thing and go on there. And now it's on about, what's this? Oh, it's asking me to support myself with the super chat. That's good of it, isn't it? One way for YouTube to make money. Right. Oh, Tracy, it'll be fine. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. It's still in the bag. It's still in the bag. And the fact it got here at all. I mean, look what happens. Carol, you are very welcome. You're always welcome at my birthday parties. Right. What have we got here then? Okay, everyone's saying thank you. You're very welcome. Suffering's a good word for it. Oh, it's difficult, isn't it? You know, I started off and you were way ahead of me. And I thought, oh, I'll catch up, it'll be fine. And I sat down last weekend and it was like, what on earth? And then when I got into level 2 today and thought it said 10, not 20, I thought, do you know what? You're getting 20, mate. I've not sat there doing 20. And some of them just didn't work for the top level topic that I picked either. So yes, we'll carry on the suffering this weekend. Okay. Oh, hello, Ken. I'm amazing, apparently. Thank you, Ken. I'm a little bit behind with my notifications. I'm not ignoring anybody. If you've mailed me, pinged me, WhatsApp me, or anything else, I'm not ignoring you. Let me have a look at my phone and see how bad it is. Even Signal, Ken. It's gone crazy. Right. On my notifications, my comms, I've got 336. So you can see keeping up is I could declare bankruptcy, but that'd be rude. So I need to catch up, and the chances of that happening this side Christmas are fairly slim with my Ship 30 stuff. But it'll happen. It'll happen. So good to see you, Ken. Thank you. Enjoyed. Well, not Tuesday. It was Wednesday, wasn't it? It was Wednesday. Second brain thing. Next week's is going to be interesting. We're supposed to be training ourselves next week, so if you've not seen that in Circle, do go and have a look. It's worth a giggle. With that and Ship 30, I have no idea what day of the week it is. But tomorrow will be spent Ship 30ing and planting these plants. But I think I should adopt Mike. He's playing on his phone now. I mentioned a phone and now he's playing.
I'm writing back to Tracy.
Oh, right. So it's secret assignations with Tracy. Yeah, I think I should be elevated to an advisory role rather than getting my hands dirty with it. But is that what Tracy intended? Or does she intend to turn me into some kind of plant genius?
How do you spell resurrect?
Start typing.
R-E-S. act.
Does it not say at the bottom?
Oh, there we go.
There you see. You only need to get it ballpark.
You've got to get the first.
Oh yes,
bit
it doesn't
right.
read your mind. It's not ChatGPT.
No.
Oh, ChatGPT. Do you know what they did this week? And I was so peeved. It was one of those life ends at the borders of the US. They brought out their iPhone app, America only. Again, bad words were said. What can I say? What can I say? Oh, Ken says self-training's the best. Well, they're looking for volunteers to run 2 sessions in Circle. Well, I've never run a live session in Circle. I don't know if it's video or what. I've no idea how a Circle live session works. But they're looking for volunteers, and I thought, well, I'm not volunteering for something if I've no idea how it works. If they don't get any volunteers, I've no idea what will happen. So I can see we'll all mog off somewhere else in our own Zoom room and just sit there for an hour. No idea what's going to happen. Crazy stuff from them, crazy. Oh, Kim asks Alexa to spell it for her. The best thing on the A-Lady in the last, I would say 6 months, wouldn't you? We watch a channel called Sherpa. It's a Malamute dog, and the videos are just fabulous. He lives with his dad, Jamie. He's human. And they get sent loads of stuff. They have a YouTube, an Amazon wish list, and people send them stuff. And we're talking massive amounts of stuff. There's one guy in Hong Kong who sends them like a tea chest sized box of food from Hong Kong. And it's amazing stuff. Anyway, they do an unboxing of all this stuff, and the dog does a high five and howls for everybody. And this particular one, it was a long video, it was about 20 minutes. And I'd seen the title, and it said, The A-Lady Goes Mad. And I didn't twig until it actually happened. And he's talking about a mug that somebody sent him from Oregon. And the A-Lady loses the plot, doesn't she? I don't know if I can actually say it on YouTube without getting banned, but go find this video. I'll find the link and I'll put it in Slack.
Well, he didn't get banned.
Well, no, he didn't actually, did he? That's the point. Basically, the A-Lady thought he'd asked for a song, and she replied with the title of this song and said, like, either I will play or whatever. And the title of the song was We Don't Have Sex Anymore. And he was flummoxed as to why she was saying that. So he said, what are you saying? Shut up, shut up. So I thought, I've got to play that for Mike. So Mike's sitting there, innocent as anything, watching this video. And it comes to this bit. She pipes up with no prompt whatsoever and comes out with that. And Mike just cracked up as well. Great video. I'll put the link in Slack. There you go. So I daren't trust the A-Lady to spell anything. Trust me, you never know what she might say. It's 2 minutes now. I've only got 2 minutes left of my birthday. What shall I do with it? Cake. Okay. We've got cake. So we're going to go. That's probably not a wise idea at midnight. But you know what? I'm going to do it anyway because it's my birthday. So I'm going to have cake before I head to bed. So thank you very much for being with us tonight, especially sharing my birthday party. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know whose birthday's next. In our household, the next one is Lola's, and she's 8 in the middle of next month. So we'll have a party for her as well. But for the moment, I'm going to say good night from me.
And good night from me.
We will both see you next time. Stay safe, guys.